At 7, more than 100 cancellations at Heathrow after security alert closes Terminal 4. Police now speak to 8 people over the car bomb investigations, and posse for the Potter premiere. Leicester Square welcomes Daniel and friends. It's 7 o'clock. I'm Holly Holland. The critical alert level and increased security has led to more than 100 flights being cancelled at Heathrow. A suspect bag was discovered at midday and forced Terminal 4 to shut for more than 5 hours while checks were made. Some flights are operating, but you're being asked to check before you travel. It comes as sources close to Sky say the same people carried out the London and Glasgow attacks. Meanwhile, all 8 people arrested in connection have links to the NHS. Dr. Prasad Rao from the International Doctors Association says their alleged involvement has stunned the medical profession.
We have all taken Hippocratic oath, and our profession is dedicated to healing the sick, and there's no way I or any of the medical profession should ever be linking themselves to maim and kill innocent people.
London Fire Brigades told LBC they're dealing with nearly 30 separate incidents of flooding due to the heavy rain. The worst affected areas are in the south and southwest, and in each case they're pumping water from homes. No one has been injured or rescued. 3 nurses, including 2 working in London, have been killed in a bus crash in Mozambique. They'd taken a week off their annual holiday to care for sick children in the African country. Michael Trabulsi has more from the LBC News Centre.
Helen Golder from the Royal Brompton and Liz Callan from Great Ormond Street died just outside the main city of Maputo when their bus hit another vehicle. Susan Andrews from a hospital in Bristol died in Johannesburg after being transferred after the accident. They were in the country volunteering with the charity Chain of Hope, providing intensive care for sick children. They were on their way for a day trip to the Kruger National Park in South Africa when the accident happened.
Another person's been charged over the fatal stabbing of a 14-year-old in Holloway. Martin Dinnigan was stabbed during a fight a week ago. 20-year-old Rene Baptiste from Plaistow is the 4th person to be charged. Gordon Brown's made his first common statement as Prime Minister, promising to give more power to the people. He set out his plans for a new constitutional settlement for Britain. He intends to hand executive powers to MPs in 12 areas, which include declaring war and dissolving Parliament. In sport, play suspended at Wimbledon right now, but the rain shouldn't affect the ATP Masters Series, which is coming to London. The O2 will stage the final of the series from 2009 for 4 years, taking over from Shanghai, and will feature the world's best 8 men. In London's travel, there is still serious disruption at Heathrow Terminal 4 this evening after a security alert with all British Airways departures currently suspended. Check before you travel. And remember, if you're away from your radio, want to stay in touch with the latest news, weather and travel, go to lbc.co.uk and click on News on the Go to find out how. And in London's weather, any heavy showers will clear overnight and there'll be lows of 12 degrees Celsius. This is LBC. It's 7:03.
This is Alan Joyce in the LBC 97.3 Travel Centre. So the latest situation at Heathrow Terminal 4 then. The terminal building has reopened. It reopened a while ago now, but British Airways have still suspended all of their departures out of Terminal 4 until further notice. They're saying that long-haul departures will be cancelled until 9 this evening, and European departures could well be cancelled for the rest of the day. Some other airlines are starting to run services out to Terminal 4 again, but best advice is to check the BAA website before you travel to the airport. You can get a link to that from our website, lbc.co.uk, and go to the travel pages. A fair few other things going on though. The North Circular closed eastbound at Cooks Ferry in Edmonton following an accident. Big delays back to the A10. New Road in Rainham is shut both ways with an accident just by Chandler's Corner. On the motorways, the M40 has a lane blocked into town just before the M25 coming down from Beaconsfield. And on the M1 southbound, there's one lane blocked between junctions 4 and 2. That's Edgware to 5 ways because of an accident not far from the London Gateway services. On the train, Southernlink Metro still not running between Kensington and Clapham, and only an hourly service between Willesden Junction and Kensington Olympia, plus disruption on First Connect via West Hampstead, serious delays there and cancellations after a signalling problem. Your next updates in 15 minutes. LBC 97.3 Travel with Confused.com, the online search engine for car insurance.
Crikey, homeowners are going gaga over challenging Churchill.
Here, Churchill, Shifty Steve down the pub said you promised to beat the renewal price on my home insurance.
Oh, yes, indeed.
And you gave me a fast quote and covered me for lots of things, including theft.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, that's good, Churchill, because Shifty Steve, he's nicked me sofa.
Never fear, sir. I'll make a citizen's arrest. Come on, Britain, call or visit Churchill.com to challenge Churchill for a better home insurance quote. Offer available on a like-for-like basis with 3 claim-free years. Conditions apply.
LBC 97.3.
Iain Lee's Good Evening.
Good evening. want Tony Blair to come back, and I want to be Prime Minister.
Why?
Because I just do.
Why do you want him to be Prime Minister still?
Because I love him.
But there's going to be a new Prime Minister. There's going to be a new Prime Minister, darling, called Gordon Brown.
No.
You don't want him?
No, I want Tony Blair.
So give us a call, 0870 90 90 973 is the telephone number. You can text as well, 84850, and the emails are up and running. Iain at lbc.co.uk. What's happening today? To be honest, more scary stuff happening in the world of terrorism, I think. And the question needs to be asked, are we losing the war on terror? It would seem that we are. We were saved this weekend only by the fact that the terrorists that were trying to blow up the cars in London and Glasgow airport were actually quite bumbling. And if they'd succeeded, obviously it would have been horrible. Now, there are people that have been arrested and are, going through certain processes, so there's only so much we can say about those specifically. But do you think we're losing the war on terror? Is there more we can do? Would a strict zero-tolerance policy go down well? If you're caught being disrespectful to this country, if you're caught burning a flag somewhere, you should be locked up, and if you're not originally from this country, booted back. I don't know, I'm just saying. I'm just asking. Would zero tolerance go down well? And Gordon Brown's not said too much about it recently, has he? Now, I may have got this wrong, and if I have got it wrong, 0870 90 90 973, give me a call, let me know. Has Gordon Brown been on television this weekend, saying much? Has he given a statement or done anything like that? I know the new Home Secretary, Jackie Smith, has said, we will not be intimidated. I'll be honest, I'm quite scared. So it's all well and good for her to say, we will not be intimidated. I'm a little bit intimidated. I'm a little bit scared. I've got to get a train tomorrow. It's a great thing, but I'm getting on a train. And part of me is thinking, well, is that going to be okay? Is that all right? I'm going on a holiday in a couple of weeks. I'm going to go to an airport and get on a plane and fly somewhere. Now, Jackie Smith can say, well, we will not be intimidated. I'm a little bit scared. 0870 90 90 973 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call. Later on, we're going to be talking about older women having babies. Is it right? The Countess of Wessex is having a baby at 42. I'm not sure. Also, the whole global warming thing, which I don't think we've spoken about enough on this show, with the floods, what the hell has the weather been doing today? I was at my mum's. 1 minute, it's brilliant sunshine. The next minute, it's pouring down with rain. Then 30 seconds later, it's brilliant sunshine again. We'll be talking about that later on, but right now I want your calls and your thoughts on what you think we could do to win the war on terror. 0870 90 90 973 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Maybe we should rip up the Human Rights Act. Because people that have been involved there's a guy at the moment getting NHS treatment in hospital, and maybe he shouldn't be, is all I think I can say on that subject. But the Human Rights Act seems to be more in favour of those people who intend to cause us harm than us, in inverted commas, normal people. And there was a thing today, I think it was in the Telegraph, I'm not sure, a leaked memo. And apparently, Gordon Brown has said, we can't call them Muslim terrorists. We have to say they're Asian terrorists. Well, hang on a second. The connecting factor between all of the terrorists that have happened in the past few years is, let me think. They're Muslim terrorists. They're Muslims. I'm not saying all Muslims are bad. Of course they're not. But that would be the connecting factor. So what do you think? 0870 90 90 973. You can text as well, 84850. And email Iain at lbc.co.uk. That's what we're talking about for the first hour of tonight's show. Are we losing the war on terror? Is there anything more we could do? I heard some people on the news today. I think it was on a BBC station. I'm not totally sure. It was flicking through. Oh, no, it was a BBC station, so I was in Reading. And so I was listening to BBC, I don't know, Bucks or Three Counties or, I don't know what it was. And they were interviewing people, how do you feel about the possible terrorist threat? And they were going, one person actually said, we're British, love. It don't scare us. Well, I thought that was the biggest load of guff I'd ever heard in my life. I'm British, and it's scaring the big Jesus out of me. How are you coping? How are you feeling at the moment? What are you doing to make yourself feel better? Or maybe you're not. Maybe you're staying in. Maybe you've cancelled your holiday. Maybe you've cancelled that work trip abroad. Maybe you're not using the underground at the moment. 0870 90 90 973. Heathrow Terminal 4 has been closed down all day. Are we getting a little bit too jumpy? Was it Hammersmith today where there was a controlled explosion because there was a suspect package? It was just a bag. It was just a bag. Are we getting a little bit too jumpy? A little bit too scared? If we're getting jumpy, does that mean they've won? 0870 90 90 973. Call up. Let me know your thoughts. Of course, as soon as we hear anything more about the situation at Heathrow, I don't know. I missed the news at 7. Alex, you know, is Terminal 4 open again, or is it still closed at the moment?
Let me check the wires.
Okay, you check the wires. Alex is going to go and check the wires, and we'll find out. Last I heard that all domestic flights for the day were cancelled. 0870 90 90 973 is the phone number for the first hour of the show, maybe a little bit longer. We're starting to talk about your fears and what you think can be done. Let's go to John. Hi, John.
Hello, Ian. How you doing?
I'm very well, thanks very much. What do you think about this, the war on terror?
Well, it's all a bit crazy at the moment, isn't it? There's just a couple of points that I want to make.
Yes.
The first one being that the whole idea of not being able to call it Muslim extremism is kind of stupid, because the connecting factor isn't the fact that they're Asian, because some of these people have been white. So I think that's kind of crazy at the moment. But also, people are sort of saying, well, what can we do about it? Well, you know, you hear some of these Muslim people on LBC at times, and I mean, they kind of make the point by saying, well, you know, don't say it's not a Muslim issue. These people are extremists. They're not the whole view of the Muslims. Well, you know, I do agree with that. I see the point that not all Muslims agree with what these people are doing. But I'd like to question, well, what is the Muslim community doing about this? Because not once in the media at all have I heard any kind of Muslim people saying what they're doing in their community to try and stop these.
What would you... OK, John, cause we do have to say, of course, that what's the pop speaker saying this? Not all Muslims are terrorists. That's obvious. What would you like to see the Muslim community doing?
Well, you know, I'd be a great man if I could come up with an answer to stop all terrorism, to be honest. But, well, you know, it's a very tough one. I'd like to see, you know, you hear reports of certain books being available through certain mosques. Yeah. Well, maybe if people are seeing that kind of thing, it should be reported to police and these places closed down. Yeah.
Well, it's a tough one, isn't it? We have to tread on eggshells when we're discussing this, which again I don't think is right. And I think if the terrorists certainly don't come from this country, then they should serve a strict sentence here. Then we didn't deport Abu Hamza because of his Human Rights Act that said, oh well, we can't send him back. He might be tortured and executed. Yeah, so what?
No, no.
I don't care.
It's like I've heard sort of people saying about the thing that just happened in Glasgow. Yeah. Saying how the guy, when he was on fire screaming Allah, that he was trying to attack police, and then someone helped him and put him out. Well, I don't think I'd have given him much help, to be honest.
John, listen, I'm not sure many people... John, thanks very much for calling. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Take care, my friend. 0870 90 90 973. What do you think we can do about this? Is there anything we can do? Should the government be doing more? It's all right for Jackie Smith to say, oh yeah, no, we won't be intimidated. Well, she hasn't got to get the tube every day, has she? Does she get the tube? I don't think so. 0870 90 90 973 is the telephone number. You can text us as well, 84850. And the email is ian@lbc.co.uk. We'll go through the emails after this. It's the travel news now with Alan Joyce.
And of course the very latest on that situation at Heathrow Terminal 4. Still big disruption following that.
OK, we've got some texts coming in. Ian, we won't win. We'll get used to it, as we did with the IRA. Deport them. he tried to create mayhem, Scott in Watford. If you are texting, do put your name and where you're from as, or the refresh rate. I can change the refresh rate on this to every 5 minutes. There we go. Let's, see if that does anything there. Let's have a little look. Anyway, 0870 9090 973. For the first hour of tonight's show, we're doing the main... It's on the front page of all the newspapers. It's the big story of the last few days, and I think it's certainly going to go on and on. The war on terror. Are we losing it? Can we do any more? And how are you feeling about it? Dave in Hampstead. Dave, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Colin. Pleasure to talk to you. First time I've ever rang a radio station, so I'm a bit nervous. Please be gentle with me.
I will certainly be very gentle with you, David.
Right. Just to cut to the chase, basically all I'm saying, I'm pretty incensed that, a lot of the kind of news coming out now is Asian. I mean, I don't know what Asian means. Asian is very...
I think it means someone from Asia.
Yeah, sorry, I do realise that.
Sorry.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, Asians, I mean, basically in last few weeks or probably a few months, I'm not a Muslim, I'm a Sikh, by the way, and obviously I'm not kind of trying to justify anything.
No.
What I'm saying is, but all of us are tainted with the same brush. And I think people need to recognize, look, Asians, there's a big diversity. Even Chinese can be Asian, Japanese can be Asian.
Japanese?
Yeah. I mean, there's a heck of a lot there, but I mean, why are
Singapore? Is Singapore in Asia?
I'm not sure.
I think I'm guessing Malaysia as it's got Asia in
Probably.
it. But I take your point. There are lots. Asia is a continent, and of course, not everyone who is Asian.
Yeah.
But we're not allowed to call them Muslim terrorists anymore.
Well, exactly. Which is, I mean, to be honest with you, I work with a lot of Muslims. I mean, I've been in a lot of few jobs. I have never ever met anybody I could honestly say fits in with the terrorist kind of stereotype.
Dave, it's interesting. A lot of my friends know a Muslim man, and I went to school in Slough where there a lot of Muslims were there. But it's that thing, isn't it? It's when there's a murder. And a next-door neighbour kills someone and goes mad, and the next-door neighbour comes out and goes, "Oh, he was such a quiet man. I didn't think he could do this." And I think that's the thing. If we're led to, according to some reports, some of the people who have been arrested recently are members have been working for the NHS. Now, you wouldn't have never have suspected them in a million years. And, of course, obviously, there are going to be courts and trials and things like that, so we have to be careful what we say. But I think the thing is that these terror cells are so good at submersing themselves into our society and our culture that you'd never think they were terrorists.
You said it, not me. I actually agree with you. I was about to say that in some way, but you actually said it, which is exactly what I was going to say. Basically, I wasn't born here. I came here when I was 9 years old, 40 years ago. Basically, because came from Kenya. I was born in Mombasa. Used to be a British colony. After, obviously, it became independent, it wasn't the same thing. My dad decided to come over here for the right reasons. Because whatever it was, I mean, back in colonial times, the one thing you had, which I feel we've lost in this country, is justice, and you had a fear of security, and there was a lot of things over there, and communities got on better together. I think part of the problem is there's too much political correctness going on now. You can't say what you actually mean. And like I said, I was a Sikh I'm a Sikh. I'm not a practicing Sikh in the sense I don't wear a turban or anything. Are
you allowed to not wear a turban if you're a Sikh?
Yes, of course.
Oh, I did not realise that.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want.
Okay.
And probably there'll probably be a few hostile calls over there, but Sikhs are probably some things that they're not supposed to drink, and the other was some of the best drinkers in the world, Probably drink the Irish under the table as well.
Wow.
Shouldn't say that, you probably, but that's a fact,
Well, Dave, listen, it's great to talk to you. Thanks very much for making the call, and do call again, won't you?
Thank you.
Thank you. There we go. 0870 909097. He called me Colin. I don't mind that. Some other presenters may have got picky. I don't mind that at all. You seem like a nice lad. Let's go to Fiona in Maidenhead. Hi, Fiona.
Hello. I don't really know why I'm ringing, but I think this whole thing is just, doing my head in.
Okay, what exactly is doing your head in, Fiona?
I just think that since we've got a new Prime Minister, I think the suspect thing is that all this stuff has been happening, but nothing really has happened.
Something has happened.
Well, yeah,
a burning Jeep was driven into an airport. That's something.
Yeah, but it didn't go off, did it?
are you saying that we're being teased?
Yes.
By whom?
I don't know. It's just.
I don't understand the point you're trying to make. Are you trying to say that somehow Gordon Brown is trying to scare us in submission and that he's behind these attacks?
No, he's not behind them, but I think that he's trying to make himself look good.
What?
By cracking down and,
But has he cracked down? Has Gordon Brown actually done anything in the past 3 or 4 days?
No.
Well, if you don't know, what are you bloody well calling in for? 0870 9090 973. If you're calling in, could you at least have some idea of what it is you're talking about tonight? You can text as well, 84850, and email ian@lbc.co.uk. Paul's on the M1. Hello, Paul. Are you going to be a bit more sensible?
I'm going to try.
Excellent stuff, Paul. Away you go.
Yeah, my point is, I think, as someone was saying earlier on about calling it a Muslim or just trying to put something on it, because I'm thinking, like, when we was getting bombed by the IRA, and I think your researcher said, I can't remember whether it was Catholics or Protestants.
The IRA?
Yeah.
You don't know which?
I'm not sure which of the two religions it was that was bombing us all the time.
I think they were the Catholics.
Right.
Yes.
So we never said, oh, it's a Catholic terrorist. We just said they're terrorists.
Yep.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Well, in that case, how should we label these in inverted commas, Muslim terrorists then? What label should we use?
Ian, the same way, Ian. Call them terrorists, call them fanatics, call them nutters, call them nunties. But when we start putting labels...
I don't think we could call them numpty terrorists. That probably breaches their human rights.
No, what, numpty?
Yeah, it probably does. It's probably somewhere there's a judge in Europe waiting for us to call them numpties, and then he'll be down our throats.
You're probably right, But what my point is, just don't put a religion or a colour or a set of people apart from the fact that they are crazy or mad or...
But the difference is, though, Paul...
Yeah.
I maybe, I don't know if you agree with this or not. When the IRA were doing their bombings in the 70s and the 80s and for some of the 90s, they never... As far as I remember, in their statements and in their warning, they never said, I'm doing this for God, I'm doing this as a Catholic. Whereas if we're led to believe what happened at the weekend, when the guy ran out of the car and was on fire, he was allegedly shouting the name of Allah, which would imply it's somehow a religious-fuelled attack.
Right, but I think what's happened is with that, right, is that when they get hold of these guys and bring them onto their agenda... They're told to either say in the name of, because I've read some of the Quran, not all of it, I've read some of it, and as many people have said, somebody else said earlier on your show that they don't hear any Muslims, but every time you see on the TV some Muslim leader from somewhere is saying, no, that's wrong, our religion says we must love one another, you must blah, 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 and doesn't in any way, shape or form say that, this is what Allah said to do. And like I said, from what I've read in the Quran, it's the same thing. It doesn't in any way, shape or form tell anybody, look, in the name of Allah, do this and do that. It doesn't say, if anything, it says totally the opposite. And, I'm a black man of African origin, so once again, somebody's got no extra running for nobody in this thing, but I just think that we should try not to, because then, like, I've listened to your, the most of today, and we've had people on the radio who are Muslims saying, well, look, they're in the middle of both of it because they're fighting themselves to get on the train because people are bombing, but they're fighting also because people are wanting to fight them or beat them because they're Muslims.
Paul, listen, I've got to move on. Thank you very much. Good point. Well made, sir. Let's go to David in St John's Wood. David.
Hi.
Get a new phone. 0870 9090 973 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Well, the thing that gets me is this Human Rights Act from Europe, which means that we have to... if anybody who possibly tries to commit an atrocity is injured, they get treated on the NHS. They get treated better than anybody else. That can't be right, can it? Is it time that we stuck two fingers up to Europe, ripped up the Human Rights Act, and told them to get stuffed? Nadine in Slough.
Hi, Ian.
Hey, Nadine.
Right, I've just heard the programme, and there's been individuals who've come on there, and they've asked, are Muslims actually doing anything about it? Well, there is a lot of base in terms of a lot of scholars who are actually trying to tell these sick-minded people that you shouldn't be doing this.
Of course,
it says in the Quran everywhere that you're not allowed to kill innocent people.
Yeah.
regardless of what kind of state you're in, what kind of state they're in.
Now, I've not read the Quran, but I'm aware that most holy books, their teachings are one of peace.
Absolutely.
How has the Quran, in this instance, and by the way, let's not forget that the number of atrocities over the centuries have been committed by people claiming to be Christians, not so much recently, but certainly many hundreds of years ago. How can the Quran have been so misinterpreted by these freaks?
It's not misinterpreted. It's actually, if you were to actually take a bit of the Quran, right? It's in Arabic, so a lot of people don't know the language by themselves, especially even Arabs themselves, because it's in a poetic form. So in the poetic form, it can be misinterpreted quite easily. But what is actually happening is certain lines are taken, and if you read only half of the line, you will understand the subject completely different. So therefore, the whole line is not even looked at, and people are brainwashed into doing this kind of...
You saying brainwashed? I'm not sure I'm buying the brainwash thing.
Okay, listen. If there's an individual who is so passionate about the atrocities that are happening on Muslims across the world, the kind of imbalance of power there is in terms of political, wham bam and mass and so on that there is in the world.
Nadine, I'm sorry to cut you short. I think I get your point. We've got to go to the news. 0870 9090 973. What can we do to win the war on terror? 0870 9090 973 is the telephone number. We're talking about, I guess, what everyone is talking about across the country. It's on the front pages of all the newspapers. It's dominating all of the news headlines. The war on terror. Are we winning it? Can we possibly win it? Is there any way we can win it if we've got crazy terrorists living in this country for years sometimes, born here, a lot of them, and prepared to attack and kill themselves in the name of, I don't know what. I do not know what. If someone can phone me up and tell me why they're doing it, I'd be keen to know. 0870 9090 973. Maybe it's Iraq. I mean, I didn't necessarily agree with Iraq, but they can't be doing it because of that. What? How does blowing up someone on a tube train, innocent people, kids, how does that? What's that got to do with Iraq? I've got an email here. I'm going to read it. It's quite long, but there are some interesting points in it. It's from someone who's obviously not been listening. Terrorism. What can you do? First of all, you can stop with the demands that the entire Muslim population apologise or do something about the extremists. Well, I haven't asked for that. You obviously weren't listening properly. Nobody's demanding that the entire British population apologise for what Tony Blair did by going along with the invasion of Iraq. Nobody's demanding the entire population of the United States apologise for what George Bush did. So, why are you demanding that the entire Muslim population apologise for what some people do? I'm not asking for that at all. I would just like, or a lot of people would like Muslims to put their hand and say, by the way, it's not all of us, it's only a few, it's only a tiny, tiny minority of extremists and fanatics. Second of all, I can't believe what I'm hearing. You and one of your callers were actually advocating letting someone die. That would make you no better than the terrorist. Nice. Well, I don't think you can compare me to someone who's prepared to blow themselves up to kill children. I don't think you can. I take great offence at that. If you want to stop terrorism, stop thinking in terms of skin colour, religion or nationalities and start thinking in terms of Idiot. What an idiot. Start thinking of them in terms of human beings. I can't believe you seriously think the Human Rights Act should be tossed. Do you not understand if that goes, your rights go with it? What rights? What rights have I got as a result of that? And I didn't say it should be. I asked the question, should we? Oh, and then April in the US. Oh, it's an American. Oh, for God's sake. Thank you, April. I haven't got the guts to call in, so you send a ridiculous email like that. Who's been on the line the longest? Let's go to Stanford. Hey, Stanford.
You right there, mate?
Hello.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, you know what I mean? It's like earlier on, you end up saying something like about walking on eggshells because when you start talking about Muslim extremists or terrorists and stuff, you know what I mean? Because, I'm just sitting, I'm driving, I'm just listening to you, and, that's the kind of thing that irritates me and probably a lot of people, you know what I mean? When, like, political incorrectness just goes wrong or just goes a bit too far, and I start trying to say something like, like a few of your callers saying, you know, you can't label a Muslim, say a terrorist, and like use the Muslim at the same time. But you've already made your points already by saying obviously it's only them, but it's only them that's controlling this thing at the minute. It's just like the other day, went to Alton Towers and I'm just sitting with my friends and stuff, and we just end up talking about. I just end up saying my mate ended up saying something like,
this is Alton Towers, yeah.
Yeah. We're just like, you know, chilling after Alton Towers, actually.
Oh, okay.
He ended up saying...
were you on the Alton Towers premises, or had you left... something?
No, well, we were at Alton Towers for his birthday. We went back to his house.
Okay, so he's at his house after a day at Alton Towers. Good day?
Yeah, it was a nice day, but it was his birthday anyway.
Nice one.
But we're just chilling, and he ended up saying, man, you know what I mean? I can't believe it, man. You know, only a few years ago, we was all at school. I'm only 22. We was all at school. We didn't know anything about terrorism, anything at all. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, you know, it's like I've got my little brother. I'm just saying how I feel.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like I've got like my younger brother.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know what I mean? It's like basically all he knows now that's bad in the world, or like what in his life, he's like grown up to like think like, how can I put it? I mean, everything is all about terrorists. Like coming to London. I don't want to go to him because of the terrorists that are there. Because like it's like I'm from Birmingham myself.
Right.
It's like at a minute I came down to London like yesterday night and actually to work in London. But as a 22-year-old guy, you know, I'm kind of scared to like walk around London. You know what I mean? I'm scared to actually probably go to the Tube or go to Oxford Circus because of the fear of probably terrorism. Yeah. And I know it ain't fair. You know, I know it ain't 100% fair. But I mean, example, you know. Seriously, I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody, but I mean, tell me who's not scared, when they see, like, somebody who's, like, dressed up in a certain way, like, even if it is an Islamic way or religious way, and goes onto the Tube, you know what I mean? Because that's happened to me before.
Are you saying, then, that we should make the veil illegal, ban the veil?
You know what, bro? I'm not saying, you know, you should make the veil illegal or anything, but it's the things like, you know, the Muslim community, they can't see the paranoia that this terrorism actually got how far it's actually got.
Okay, Stanford, I've got to move on. Listen, thank you very much for that. If you could just get to the point a little bit clearer, I'm not quite sure. Apparently he had a nice day at Alton Towers, and then he chilled. I don't quite know where that takes the argument. Thanks very much, though. Kathy.
Hello.
Hello, Kathy.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. What do you think about this war on terror?
I'm pretty scared by it. But one of the things I did notice is any of the Muslim people ringing in, they're saying a lot of the time that the religion itself is a loving, caring religion, that it doesn't advocate any of the hatred and terrorism. That it doesn't approve of that. Yeah. What I don't understand is what is it the people want who are perpetrating these acts? What is it they want?
Well, this is what I was asking earlier on, Kathy.
So passionate, and that you have to have a very passionate belief
to blow yourself up. You have to be quite passionate. I don't know. I've asked this question. We're getting the cliche. Oh, it's the war in Iraq. Well, I don't agree with the war in Iraq, but I'm not strapping Semtex to myself and getting on a bus. It's that can't be the real reason. There has to be more to it than that.
I suggest you invite some of the militant activists who are part of this to ring in and listen to what they have to say. Yeah. What is it they want? Now, with the IRA, there was a gag on them for years. Yeah. I've forgotten Jerry, whatever his name was, he couldn't even
Seinfeld.
Speak. And that attracted so much. People wanted to hear him because of that. Now, what I think, it wasn't until they had meetings and people sat down and listened to them, and until they recognised them as a force that needed to be dealt with.
Do you agree, Kathy? In the days of the IRA, and they committed some awful atrocities.
Yes,
and I was quite young for most of it, so I was oblivious to a lot of it. But they had the decency, if that's the right word, without being too flippant, to at least give warnings, to phone up and tip off the police.
Yes.
There were, again, I don't want to sound flippant, but it seemed like there were rules in those days. No rules today, Kathy.
Well, let me just say this to you before you go.
Please do.
And that is that the IRA wasn't just strictly Catholics. There were Protestant activists as well. And I just thought perhaps that'd be
Kathy, can I just check before we do move on to Ali? Can I ask, are you asking for potential terrorists to actually phone in LBC 97.3?
Well, I doubt if any of them would, but if they did, and it'd be a whole new view that we all want to hear.
Kathy, thank you very much for that. Let's go to Ali. Hello, Ali.
Hello, Ian.
Hello.
Hello, Ian. I think the answer to stop these terrorist attacks in England or in Great Britain
You've got the answer. Let's hear it. Let's record this. We've got the answer coming up.
is to pull our troops out of the country, to stop the occupation.
Of what?
Iraq.
Okay, what? But I didn't... Is Iraq... Iraq's not a 100% Muslim country, though, is it, Ali?
No Muslim terrorists, as you say, or let's say terrorists, have attacked England, except the IRA,
right,
until the invasion of Iraq.
Okay.
The Blair government has brought this upon the people of Britain.
Yeah, I think it's unfair, Ali, to say that it's Blair's fault that people are getting blown up in this country.
Because...
I disagree. Ali, I disagree. Ali, I disagree with the war in Iraq. I think it was illegal, and I think it was sold to us on a lie. But I'd rather go on marches, I'd rather write letters, instead of blowing up innocent children in this country.
I agree with you on that 100%. But in Iraq, every month, 2,000 innocent people die.
Yeah.
And what happens?
Yeah.
This dying, the massacre of these innocent people creates these kind of terrorist people.
Ali, I'll counter that. We weren't in Iraq on September the 10th or 11th, were we?
No.
And yet that was one of the worst terrorist atrocities ever committed ever.
That attack happened in America.
That happened in America, but they were Muslims, Ali.
No, yeah, but before
justify
America was still punishing or
so Ali,
all over the world.
So basically, the reasons for these attacks, they shift and fit whatever. If we pulled out of Iraq, there would still be attacks, and you'd still find a way of justifying it.
Ian, if Britain leaves Iraq, right? As I'm a Muslim, I'm a Turkish Muslim, right?
Right.
And Islam is a very deep faith.
Right.
It's very loving, right?
But
when Muslim people suffer around the world.
Yes, but there are Christians. There are Christians in Iraq as well, Ali. I don't see Christians going around killing people.
At the same time, Muslim people, they can turn to be very.
So Ali, you're justifying the terrorist attacks, are you?
No, I'm not justifying.
But it sounds like you are justifying them.
No, in no way.
Are you going to denounce them?
Of course I will. Every kind of terrorism. You understand?
But it sounds like, but you phoning up with excuses for them. It sounds like you're justifying it, Ali.
You have to understand something, Ian. We are creating them.
Okay. I'm not sure.
Agree with me on that.
I don't agree with you on that. I'm not sure I do agree with you on that. But it's good to get your viewpoint, Ali. I've got to move on. Thank you.
All right, Ian. Bye.
There we go. 0870 9090 973 is the telephone number. Is the telephone number. Oh, Ian, Ian? I don't know what that was about. We've got some text coming in, but take no chances. Show these scumbags that we British ain't scared of nothing. Okay, well, I'll go through those a bit later on because they're a bit confusing. 0870 9090 973. Coming up after the news at 8 o'clock, we'll be asking, should women, older women, late 30s, early 40s, should they be allowed to have babies? We're doing that after 8, though, so keep your calls coming in on the war on terrorism. And what can we do? And do you think the government is doing enough? It's the travel news now. Here's Alan.
We've still got those massive problems.
OK, don't forget, after 8 o'clock, we're going to be asking, should older women be allowed to have babies? Because the Countess of Wessex, Sophie, who's 42 years old, is going to be having a baby. Is that too old? Is that fair on the baby? You can call in and book your place for that now if you want. 0870 9090 973. 84850 is the text number. And you can email ian@lbc.co.uk. I want to get through as many of these calls about terrorism before 8 o'clock, though. Let's go to Adil. Hello, Adil.
All right, how you doing?
I'm all right. What can I do for you?
Just listening to what you're talking about, really.
Yeah.
I think it's fairly repetitive.
OK, we'll change it.
Well, it's not a matter of changing it. It's a matter of these people...
Well, hang on, you're phoning up saying it's repetitive. Well, then say something that's not repetitive then. Go on.
No, well, it's been talked about many, many times before.
Well, it's an important thing, isn't it, Adil?
Of course it is, but
okay.
At the end of the day, these people are not going to stop because there's a zeal that they've got and because of the foreign policies and stuff. I mean, obviously, you know about Iraq and...
Well, I do know about Iraq. Adil, I don't know what you're saying. What's your point? Are you phoning up to say that the show is boring? Are you phoning up to say that we're all speaking cliches? Or are you saying that you know why it's happening? What are you saying, Adil?
I don't know, but this is my opinion, though. You know, I just think that...
Well, what is your opinion? You've not actually said anything yet.
Well, if you let me talk, then I'll tell you.
I'll let you... You've had 3 minutes already. Talk. Say something.
These people they're not going to stop. They will just carry on doing it. Just like they've got the zeal in them. They're quiet. They're stealth, and they'll just carry on doing it because of what's happened in the last 4 years in other Muslim countries.
Is that your point, Adil?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, good day to you. Sorry, we wasted valuable airtime for that. Someone to phone up and say we're being repetitive, and then just say something that I've heard a million times already. If you are phoning up, do listen to what's been said so far, and try and take the argument just a little bit further. And maybe don't know if it's because of the war. Well, but that may be it. I don't think it is. I think there's more to it than that. John is in the Northwood. Hello, John.
Hello, Ian. I usually call at the other end of the day, sort of talk to Nick in the morning.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. Gordon Brown, he hasn't done much. I mean, what can he do? Really?
He could come out and make a statement on TV and say, I'm the new Prime Minister, I've only been doing it a few days, I'm sorry everyone this is happening, we're doing our best. Well, that's all he can do, really.
To be fair to him, that's exactly what he has done.
Has he done that? Well, in that case, I missed
that. Because, he came out and made a sort of very sombre statement and said virtually nothing. I mean, it's actually been a refreshing change that he's not sort of jumping up and down and issuing sort of sound bites and trying to sort of look good in front of the cameras and smiling a lot or remembering not to smile. I mean, he's naturally a bit of a miserable so-and-so anyway, so it's quite suitable. I did see him on Sunday morning. I mean, he was on Panorama, I think. With Andrew Marr, I think, and he didn't say much then. But I come back to my main point. What can he say and what can he do?
Well, if he has come out on television and spoken, addressed the nation, then I do apologise. I missed that. I'm disappointed with Jackie Smith, the new Home Secretary.
There's not much I can say about her. Again, she's only been in the job sort of, less than a week, obviously.
What they need to do, and I'll be honest, John, I haven't got the answer. I don't know what the answer is, but they should be out there, being visible. Jackie Smith should be on the television saying, okay, this is what we're doing. Instead of just saying, we will not be intimidated, we're British, she hasn't got to live in the real world. She doesn't have to get the tube every day. She doesn't have to get on buses.
But those of us who do live in the real world, Ian, what can we do? I mean, I think it's some of us are going to feel frightened and very afraid and possibly not want to leave the house or go to work or anything, but most of us are going to get back on the tube and catch the flights and sort of get on with our...
John, how are you feeling? Are you feeling intimidated or nothing changed for you?
I'm not desperately worried. I mean, we've heard all this before. I mean, I'm not deeply cynical. I mean, obviously there is a threat, and seriously, if a bomb goes off and somebody attempts to drive into an airport in Glasgow, or anywhere for that matter, it's deeply worrying, especially if you're caught up in it. And, I mean, if those bombs had gone off on Saturday night or whenever, or Friday night, then of course it would be July the 7th all over again. But, I mean, apart from saying be vigilant, and all of us sort of, if we suspect anything, tell the police and the authorities, I honestly don't know what the answer is either.
Do you think we're all getting a little bit jumpy? Because we've had a case, I think it was Hammersmith this morning, where there was a suspect package. It was just a bag someone had let... Are we going to return to the days of the late 80s where any suspect bag was immediately... train stations were closed down, things were... controlled explosions... I remember that happening. I remember that.
It all got a bit ridiculous last year when, there was a scare at the airports. I think it was last August. And, of course, then suddenly we couldn't take anything even as simple as a bottle of water or something. And all the restrictions on the size of the bags. I mean, to be honest, all it did was put me off flying altogether because I just sort of think, well, I can't be bothered, you know.
Well, John, if you put off flying, at least your carbon footprint's going to be smaller.
Well, it will be.
That's something. Thanks very much. Let's go to Paul. Paul.
Hi, how you doing?
Get to the point, Paul.
Right, it was something you said right at the beginning of the programme about the Human Rights Act. Now, one of the main the main law that has to be looked at is you can't send somebody back to a country where they fear they may be harmed or killed.
Apparently so.
Right, now that is the problem. Now, if you remember about the guys that hijacked the plane a few months ago, they hijacked the plane, they left them sitting there for days, and basically they were allowed to stay in the country because you can't send them back to a country where they fear they may be harmed or killed. Mm-hmm. So that's the one we've got to look at. Now, there's nothing wrong with going to a country and helping people defend themselves against people who are trying to overtake their country or their bit of land or whatnot. but we have to change the law on you can't send somebody back to a country where because at the end of the day, if they're coming over to this country doing what they're doing in the name of terrorism, all they're doing is they're turning around saying, you can't send me back there because I might be killed. It's a dangerous country.
I just think, Sodom, put them in prison for 20 years, then send them back. If they get tortured, I don't care. I don't care.
I don't care.
You know the prisons are overcrowded and we can't put any more prisoners in prisons and they're going to use prison ships and they're putting people in police station prisons and they're letting criminals and muggers and violent criminals just get off with community service. You could solve the prison crisis in one fell swoop. Every immigrant that is in prison, a lot of them are here illegally, a lot of them have committed murders and rapes. The ones that have committed murders and rapes, send them back.
Exactly.
And you'll clear away a third of the space in the prison straight away.
100% behind you.
Paul, thanks very much.
Look.
OK, let's get through as many of these calls on terrorism as we can. Let's go to Hasib. Hello, Hasib.
Hello there, Ian.
What's your point?
Hello, yeah. I wanted to answer your question about why it's all happening.
OK. Why is it all happening?
Well, basically, what's going on is you've got people that go to these lectures in mosques and whatnot, and they become very passionate. And there's people there in these gatherings, and they're very vigilant of who can be easily manipulated. They usually go to convert people to Islam. And,
Well, do you know? Have you seen these people?
Oh yeah, I've seen people that are very very extreme in what they.
So
think.
you know who these people are?
Well, not specifically who these people are, but I've
Well,
seen
no, not the people involved in anything over the weekend, but you have seen these extremists that promote terrorism.
I've had very intense arguments with these people.
And of course, you've reported it to the police, haven't you?
Oh no, well these people haven't made claims that I'm going to go and do this. They've made claims.
Well, hang on a second, Hasib. I can hear people at home picking up the phones now, screaming at the radio, saying, if you know the people that are, and let's use brainwashing, even though it's a very lazy term, it's something I don't quite believe in. If you know the people that are manipulating these youngsters to becoming terrorists or suicide bombers, then it's your responsibility, Hasib, to report them to the authorities.
I totally understand that. But there's two approaches you can take to this. You can either go to the police and say, look, so-and-so is holding this view, and then...
Or you can do absolutely nothing.
Well, where are you going to go from that? Or, on the counter, which is what I do, is debate with these people.
You can't debate with these people. You can't debate with... That's not going to change their mind. You need to be reporting these people to the police.
You would be surprised the amount of people's...
You haven't converted one person.
Ian, trust me, I have debated with a lot of people.
Well done for you. Go and report them to the police, you fool. Imad.
Yes, hi, Ian.
Hello, Imad. We haven't got much time.
No, Ian, it's good to hear from myself. I born in Baghdad, and I'm obviously British, and I'm very proud to be British.
Excellent.
Just a couple of quick points. The Iraqi war.
We've literally got a minute.
Okay, the Iraqi war is to do with Saddam Hussein, really, and we're very proud that the American and the British went and they cleared that country. That's one thing, and there are still some thugs there, to be honest with you, and the country will be cleared.
Yes.
And then they're doing a great job.
Well, are they doing a great job, or have they completely muffed it up and turned it into a massacre? I don't know.
As far as the global, I think there's a global, to be honest with you, issue with this with Islam, and they're trying to control the whole world, and it's scary. It's really scary. Like the Christian did it about 2,000 years ago.
Yep.
And I think there is a move all over the world, regardless the Iraq or Afghanistan, whatever.
Okay, Imad, listen, great point. I've got to move on. Thank you very much for that. Maybe we'll speak to Inga after the news if we get the chance. After the news, though, I want to talk about older women having babies. Is it right? The Countess of Wessex, Sophie, Prince Edward's wife, she's 42 years old. 42, really? Wow. And she's going to be having a baby, her second baby. I think it's her second one. That can't be right, is it? Should women be allowed to have babies in their late 30s, early 40s? Are you an old mum? Have you had a baby later than all of your friends? 0870 9090 973. Maybe you've got a friend who's having a baby and you think, I think she's a little bit too old. Give me a call. Let's hear your views and your stories on LBC 97.3. 0870 9090 973 is the phone number. 84850 is the text. I think the text, I'm not sure. Is it 25 pence and normal cent? I don't know. Don't tell me. I don't want to have a whole Channel 4 news thing on me back. And Ian at lbc.co.uk is the email address. What we're talking about in this hour, reacting to the news that the Countess of Wessex, Sophie, married to Prince Edward, are they still around, those two? I thought they'd gone. Maybe they're a little bit jealous of the attention that Wills and Harry have been getting recently. At the age of 42, I'm surprised she's that old, I'll be honest with you. But at the age of 42, she's going to be having her second child. Now, obviously, as a woman gets older, there are potentially more difficulties and more problems that could arise during labour, during the whole pregnancy and childbirth. Is it right that a woman in her 40s is having a baby? Should that be allowed? Should there be an age limit at which point you can't have babies? Are you an older mum? 0870 9090 973. How did it go for you? Was everything all right? Did it go smoothly? Were there problems? Do let me know. Or maybe you're a child of an older parent. How has it been for you? Has it been harder for you? Has it been difficult? Has it been different? How did you get on at school? 0870 9090 973. Let me know. What I really want to get on this, I really want to get your stories on this. Your points of view. What's happened to you? Or maybe it hasn't happened to you and you just want to talk about it on the radio. 0870 9090 973. They do say that your 30s are the new 20s. And of course, we're getting younger, older. So maybe I've got an old-fashioned head on this. I remember being a kid. 40 and 50 was old. You were old at the age of 50. And old people in their late 50s and 60s looked like old people. They looked small and wrinkled, and they'd sit in corners with canes. They'd have little hats and leathery skin. But nowadays, people in their 50s, well, they look like they're in their late 30s. So maybe things have changed. Maybe things are different now. 0870 9090 973 is the phone number. And if you're a fan of Big Brother, keep listening, because we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on as well. Johnny's in Kentish Town. Hey, Johnny.
Hello.
Hello, what can I do for you?
I was going to say, if, like, the woman in question, if she gave birth to some kind of animal, like a giraffe or kangaroo or something, rather than...
Yeah, get lost, Johnny. And if you're going to phone up, just be stupid. I'm not in the mood for that at all. Let's go back on the subject of terrorism. Let's speak to Jackie. Hello, Jackie.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Jackie.
A first-time caller. I've been listening to your show for quite a while. And this subject about the terrorism, because I just wanted to say that I myself became a Muslim 11 years ago.
You converted to Islam?
I did, yeah.
Okay.
And
Can I ask why?
Because I read about the religion and I
Right.
believed in it. My older sister became Muslim before me.
Can I ask, what were you brought up as?
I wasn't really brought up with a particular religion.
Right.
And I was never thinking about becoming a Muslim,
Okay.
becoming religious.
Yeah.
But I decided to become Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest with you, when I read about Islam, I never read anything into Islam about terrorism.
No.
And suicide is wrong, and so is murder.
This is what I've heard, that suicide is considered a sin in Islam.
it is.
So how is the? I'm guessing.
Murder.
Well, how have the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, how have the teachings of him been perverted and distorted to such an extent that people misinterpret them and think that it's okay to kill yourself and at the same time kill other people?
To be honest with you, I don't think these people are acting on, Islam, anything to do with religion. I don't know why. I don't know why they would do such acts.
Mm.
But today I just got really. I mean, I've been listening to this subject about terrorism for years.
Yeah.
And today I just got really, really fed up, and I thought I'd give you a ring because I was listening to your show, and
Well, Jackie, listen, thank you very much for giving us a call. I really do appreciate your input.
All right then.
And look after the little one there. Thank you. 0870 9090 973 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. We're trying to move on. I know that everyone's very keen to talk about the terrorism because it is, it's scary, isn't it? I think it's scary. I don't want to terrify anyone, but I'm frightened. And it's on the front page of all the news, and it's very current. If we can, we'll take a few more calls on that, but I don't want the whole show to be about the war on terror. But looking to speak to older mums now. Samantha, are you an older mum?
Not yet, darling. I mean, I'm 37 and I made the conscious decision not to have kids until I'm old enough and responsible enough to look after them. And
Why did you think that?
Because, I used to go out a lot as a teenager. You do. And when you're in your 20s, you're too busy socialising.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to have a child and then resent it from stopping me doing what I wanted to do.
Right.
And so, I'm 37. I still haven't had kids yet, but I would like to.
Do you see that happening at any point in the near future? Because you are getting to the limit where a lot of people would say, hang on, that's just not fair on the baby.
No, and you're right. You are right, because there's a higher risk of things like Down syndrome and stuff like that. And also, I'm conscious of my body clock, and I don't want to leave it too late. But it's you just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I may not be lucky enough. I may not meet someone. I don't know. I mean,
are you with a man at the moment, Samantha? If you don't mind me asking.
No, I'm not. I'm single.
Okay. Well, I'm not.
But I mean, my parents are both retired. They're both in their 70s. And do you know what? Actually, I'm proud of my parents because New Year's Eve they stay out later than I do.
Oh, really? They're hardcore.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, when I was they're in their 70s. What they were what in the early 30s when they had you?
Well, I've got an older brother. He's 4 years older than me. I was adopted.
Oh, okay.
And I was fortunate enough that they chose me, but they wanted a child. They wanted a brother and sister. Or the son and daughter, and that's how it's turned out for them. But if I can't have a child of my own, that's one thing I'd like to consider. I would like to consider adoption.
What would you say is
penalised for that as well because you're older?
Oh, really? Well, then, if you'll get penalised for that, then maybe there is something in it then, because I guess these people who run the adoption agencies must know what's best for the child. What is the cut-off point for adopting a child?
I'm not 100% sure, but I know the older you get, the harder it is for you, because, like you say, this is the topic of conversation. Yeah. Older parents, for some reason, are penalised for leaving it later in life.
Well, the thing is, you do have to put the child first, and
absolutely.
If you can't have I'm saying this, you can't have a 70-year-old running around with a nipper. Isn't Des O'Connor just had a baby or something, and he's 72? Now that I know his wife is something like 26 or something ridiculous like that, but that can't be fair on the baby to have a 72-year-old dad.
But then again, what you said was true. The 70 is the new 60. People age better nowadays. My nan, when she was in her 70s, was definitely a nan. My dad, in his 70s, is a granddad, and he's still, he's fit, he's healthy. Thank goodness.
What is the age? What's the oldest, Samantha, that you would consider having a baby yourself, physically passing a baby?
40.
40. You wouldn't go any older than that.
No, that is when I was younger, I said I'd like to have children before I'm 40.
Yep. Okay. Well, Samantha, listen, it's really interesting to hear what you've got to say. Thank you. 0870 9090 973. What do you think about what Samantha had to say then? 40? 40, I'm not sure. That's getting close to what I consider to be the cut-off point. I think mid-30s really is when a woman is physically at her peak. When I was a kid, I mean, I was born when my mum was in her early 20s, and that seemed to be all of the rage. It seemed to be de rigueur in those days. Why are people having babies later in life? And if it's just because a woman wants to have a career, seriously, can a woman have a career and have a baby? Surely, not surely, I'm asking the question. I don't know the answer. Can they have both? Or does the choice have to be made to have one or the other? 0870 9090 973 is the telephone number if you want to give me a call. 84850 is the text. Iain at lbc.co.uk. Can women have it all? Let's go to Keith. Keith, can women have it all?
Well, they seem to be, but there's nothing wrong with having a child that's up to 45?
Well, that can't be right. That's just ridiculous, Keith.
No, it's not.
Tell me your story.
Well, let's put it this way. My ex and myself, we had a child late in life.
Yeah. How old were you both?
Well, I was only 35, but she was 42 when she gave birth to our son. He was perfectly healthy.
Well, you're very lucky. Congratulations.
And he's very bright. And she turned around and said to me that now she's got more patience.
Yeah, I suppose that's something that the patients and a better understanding of what life is all about.
Yeah, the tolerance of what the child's going to do and everything else is greater.
But when she's 60, he's going to be 18.
Yeah, and
I suppose he can look after Mum then, couldn't he?
well, I said, well, you look at it a different way.
Yeah.
When I was born, my mother and father, God rest the pair of them, but they were 37 and 38 when I was born.
Mm.
You know, I've got older brothers and an older sister, but
Well, 37, I think, is all right. I think once you're getting to 40 and you're getting beyond 40, I think then you're playing a very dangerous game, Keith.
Each to their own, but a friend of mine, she had a baby, 11 years ago, and at the time she was 49 when she gave birth.
Well, to be honest, Keith, I've got to be honest, I think that's absolutely quite selfish and unfair on the child. Keith, I've got to go. Thank you for that. It's the travel news now. Is it Will?
Yeah, it is.
Will, away you go.
Thank you very much. If you're catching a flight,
Iain, I'd rather see a 40-year-old than a 14-year-old with a pram any day. I guess there's something in that. But maybe, I'm not saying 14, but maybe it's better to have the baby younger. Because then you can kind of identify with it. 18-year-olds having babies, it wasn't that long ago that they were young. So they're 20, the little babies too. They can identify better with the 2-year-old than, say, a 40-year-old can, than a 50-year-old can. And also, have the baby when you're young. I'm just saying, I'm not saying this is necessarily what I believe in, I'm just putting it out as an idea. 0870 9090 973. Let me know what you think. Have the baby when you're young. In that way, it's out of the way, and then possibly you can start a career. If you can text him, what I'd like to know is if you could text him, please. At what age you think is the maximum age that is acceptable for a woman to have a baby? If you text that in 84850, do include your name and where you're texting from. In the text, just so I'll be more inclined to read them out that way. It makes it a little bit more human. So what age do you think is the cut-off point, the maximum age that a woman should be allowed to have a baby? Text that into 84850. And are you an older mum? Give us a call. I really want to talk to someone who's an older mum. 0870 9090 973. I tell you what, after 1:30, I'll let you know what age I think the cut-off point should be. So texting you what you think. We'll have a little fun there on the text. Shirley's in the Dartford. Hello, Shirley.
Hello, Iain.
Hello, Shirley.
I'm a first-time caller. I had my child when I was in my 20s.
Right.
But parents today, if they're working, they really feel sometimes that they need to be, they feel they want to have a child before their biological clock stops. And
when does the biological clock stop?
Well,
and can you wind it up again?
Well, it doesn't wind up again, but I think it's up to the woman to decide. If she wants to have a baby in her 40s, then that's up to the woman.
Would you say?
I personally wouldn't have wanted one in my 40s.
Would you say that it's all right for a woman to have a baby if she's 49?
Well, if a woman of 62 can have a baby,
well, that's obviously wasn't that the woman in Italy who there was had one artificially inseminated? I don't quite know what the story was there. I've not.
No,
but 62, you'd have to agree. 62 is wrong.
Well,
that's just wrong. Having a baby at 62 years old?
Well,
no, that's not right.
I personally wouldn't have wanted one at 62. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted one at 40. I mean, I had mine when I was in my 20s.
But the thing is, Shirley, you know that as a woman gets older, the chances of there being a problem with the pregnancy or with the actual birth, the chances of that happening increase.
Yes, it does.
So it can't be fair on anyone involved. And also, you have a baby when you're 50, you're 60 years old, that kid is 10 years old. That's not fair on the kiddie. You can't run around the park, you can't be carrying them and lifting them up if you're 60 years old.
Well, it depends on how fit you feel at 60, doesn't it? How fit you are. I mean, who can tell how a woman's going to feel at 60?
I think, at 60 she's going to feel a little bit more knackered than she felt at 30, isn't she? That's obvious.
I mean, as I say, personally, I wouldn't want one at 60.
Okay. Well, Shirley, listen, thank you very much for that. 0870 90 90 973. Tina.
Hiya.
Hi, Tina. What have you got to say?
Well, I'm a first-time caller, and I've listened to you for quite a long time.
Thank you.
And I think you're brilliant.
Thank you.
But I've got to disagree with a sort of age limit of 42 or something like that.
Okay.
I don't have children. I'm 41.
Right.
And I'd have loved to have had kids when I was in my 20s and stuff like that, but I waited because I was always taught that I had to go to work and earn a living, and I'm quite old-fashioned. I wanted to wait until I was married. And
Yeah. Well done, you.
Yeah, but now I'm actually being discriminated against at the age of 41 because I can't have children now for whatever reasons.
What do you mean you can't have children now for whatever reason? Is that a medical reason or...?
Yeah, medical reasons.
Okay.
I'd need to have help, basically.
Okay.
IVF treatment.
Oh, with the IVF, okay.
Yeah. So...
But you're being discriminated against why? Because you can't get that on the NHS?
I can't get it on the NHS because I'm too old. I was too old when I got married at 36.
Do you know what? But the IVF...
Yeah.
Part of me thinks, and this may sound harsh, part of me thinks, well, why should it be on the NHS?
Well,
if you can't, in the olden days, you couldn't have a kid, and I don't want to sound cold or heartless. I'm just playing this idea around in my head. In the old days, you couldn't have a kid. It was tough. You know, you didn't have kids, or you went and adopted. There are thousands of little kiddies waiting to be adopted.
Yeah, that's true. But it's extremely difficult to be able to sort of go through that process because it's not made easy by councils and all that sort of thing.
Oh, no, of course it's not. Of course it's not, and I appreciate that. But the IVF, very, very expensive. And should it really be given on the NHS when there are people who are not getting cancer drugs because of the cost of those?
No, I agree from that point of view, but it's all down to money at the end of the day. And I think
exactly
you should be able to... The age limit for me was 25 to 35.
Right.
And I got married at 36.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to have children straight away, so I waited. And by the time I was investigated and everything, I was too old.
Right.
So I think that is discriminatory. And I think that there should be...
But the medical profession know that when you're older, there are more risks involved in having a baby. So it's right they have a cut-off, surely.
And that's something that I've considered as well at the age of 41. But I think everybody is individual, and medically, some women are more able to, are going to have a higher success rate, and others aren't. I mean, I've had 2 IVF attempts that have failed, but... and I've paid for both of those myself.
Okay. Well, Tina, how much does the IVF treatment cost, very quickly, before we move on?
About 5,000.
Wow. Tina, listen, thank you very much for that. £5,000. I seriously think that we shouldn't be giving that away on the NHS. £5,000 treatment? There are people... There was a story in the papers some time ago about a woman who couldn't get the cancer drug treatment in her county because the county ruled it was too much and it cost too much and they couldn't afford it. But yet we can give £5,000 to people to have a go at getting babies and there's no guarantee it's going to work. That doesn't seem right to me. Am I being a bit too harsh? 0870 90 90 973 is the telephone number. Don't forget to text in. What age do you think the cut-off point should be for women to be allowed to have babies? You can text that into 84850. If you are texting in, make sure you put your name and where you're texting from. Vanessa.
Hi.
What's your story, Vanessa?
I am actually an older mum.
Okay, can I ask how old you are?
I'm 45 at the moment.
And what age did you have the baby?
I had my last son when I was 42.
42, okay. So the same age as the Countess of Wessex. Yeah.
That's right.
Yes. Is there a stigma attached to being called an older mum?
I was actually called an older mum when I had my first son at 29.
Really?
Believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah. So, no, there hasn't been. And I've got 3 children. My son at 42 was my last.
Right.
And there has been loads of positives from having my son late. I had all the medical concerns that everybody would have over 40.
Yeah.
I had all the tests that I possibly could have to make sure I'd ruled those out as much as I could. And I guess the only thing that maybe I found a little bit harder having a child later is that I don't physically have the stamina that I had when I was 29.
Well, that's an important thing. I was cutting down, going slightly off thing, I was cutting down a tree in my mum's garden today, and after 10 minutes, I was knackered. And I'm 34. At the age of 24, I could have done it quite easily. At the age of 44, I wouldn't even attempt it. So running around with a little nipper, when my little nephew comes around, he's 2 years old. He is exhausting. I have him for like 3 or 4 hours. I'm exhausted at the end of that. Having a little 2-year-old all the time, I don't think I could do that in my 40s. I do not think I could do it.
I'm not sure, though, whether the reason why I don't have so much stamina is I'm also a career mum.
Right.
So I work 4 days a week on quite a high-pressure job that I have. So I'm trying to juggle 3 kids plus 4-day...
Can you have both?
Sorry?
Can you have both, the kids and the career? A lot of people would say, well, you're being doubly selfish. You're an older mum, and you're working all the time, so you don't even see them.
Yeah, well, actually what I did was, I guess I advanced my career as much as I could until I got to a certain point, and then I recognised I had to make sacrifices, and the sacrifice I made was my career. So I took a couple of levels down, doing the job I do currently, so I can get a better balance in my life. And it's hard. It is hard. But those are the choices that I make, and I guess the challenge is I come home from work, and a lot of people would put their feet up.
Yeah.
I come home from work and my day finishes at 11 o'clock at night.
And they're all well, healthy and happy, are they?
They are. I've been extremely lucky, and I have to say that my last son I consider as a bit of a gift.
Yeah. Well, that's Vanessa, listen, thank you very much. That's the main thing. Well, is she right? Is she right, having a baby at 42 and having a career? Or is she being incredibly selfish? 0870 90 90 973. Let's have a little look at some of these texts here. 25... Max. Now, I don't know if that's from Max or if that's the maximum age. I think 65 is the maximum age to have a baby, says Greg in Staines. My wife wanted us to have a baby. She's 53. Let's have a quick look. Ian, you'd better hurry up at 34 times running out for you. Ian, I had my baby when I was 19. I think the cut-off point should be 35, says Sarah in Watford. Have the baby as late as you can. You've done more, know more, have more, and can give more, says Stephen Kelly. Well, there's something in that, isn't there? I think 40 should be the cut-off age, says Louisa. 40, says Anna. If your mother had you at 20, the cut-off age should be 19, says an idiot whose number ends in 8189. So thank you very much. We'll do some more of those in a minute. 0870 90 90 97. That guy's just texted me. Spent 25 pence of his own money. Thanks very much. I don't mind. More of your calls after the news. You can call us tonight, 0870 90 90 973. The text machine is up and running, 84850. We're getting your texts in at the moment. At what age do you think is the maximum age that a woman should be allowed to have a baby? And how do we stop women after that age having babies? Because it's selfish. It's selfish. Having a baby is quite a selfish act anyway. Doing it beyond a certain age is incredibly selfish. Because you know as well, if you have a baby in your late 40s, early 50s, even later than that, at some point in that person's life, probably earlier on than it would be expected, maybe in their late teens, early 20s, they're going to end up looking after you. Now, that can't be fair, can it? That has got to be the most selfish act you can do. 0870 90 90 973. Are you an older mum? Did you have your baby... I tell you what, we can open this up a little bit as well. Are you an older dad? We mentioned Des O'Connor. He's fathered a child at the age, I think 72. I saw him on the Countdown show today. He can't look after a nipper. He could not run and pick up a ball. I'm sure of it. He could barely sit at a desk and say words. 0870 90 90 973. Your chance to get your views aired on LBC 97.3, London's biggest conversation. Let's go to Heather. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Ian.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, I'm a young mum. Well, I consider myself as a young mum. I'm 34, and
What?
I've got 3 sons. Well, do you not consider it as young?
34? No, I would not consider 34 a young mum, no.
Well, I've got 3 boys, and my eldest is 13, so I started in early 20s.
Well, in that case, okay, you started, you're 21, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a decision you make based on how you're actually brought up.
Right.
My mum, I'm the last of 4.
Yeah.
My mum had me at 33,
Yeah.
and I have such a good relationship with my mum, who's now 67.
Yeah.
And so my ideal age was 33 because I know what kind of relationship I have with my mother.
Right.
So I wouldn't expect to go anywhere further than that. And my other view is when I hit 40, because I see 40 as quite a milestone, I don't want to be doing any nappies or having to run around after a child. I want to be able to relive my life.
Yeah.
So I've had my teen. I had my child at 21. I was working, so I didn't fall into a catch-22 situation. I'm in a full-time job, 3 sons, husband, full-time job, full-time housework. I get on with it. It's not easy, but I do it.
Heather, would you agree? There's an argument is in favour of the older mum is that we would you agree with this? We're getting younger, older.
The people that I've kind of met during my work experiences, that is true. And they don't look, as you said earlier, they do not look what your class as their age.
Yeah.
They look a lot younger, a lot fresher. I think people are taking more care of themselves. So I don't really think you can put an age on when you should stop having children. I think it really depends on how you feel, how you live your life, and what you want from it.
Yeah.
But I do have like family members who have had children later on, and they have gone from fresh and young to sort of like stern, and because it's almost like I've lived my life and I thought I could deal with this, and they've gotten there and it's like I'm not dealing with it properly because I'm not as young as I used to be, and I can't run around and do what I would like to do with my
Heather, very quickly, going off topic ever so slightly.
Yeah.
Have you been watching this series of Big Brother?
You know what? I've got so much things to do. I don't watch it.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone's watching it at the moment, but I've got all the papers here. Let's have a look. Let's go through the front pages. Okay, it's not mentioned on the front page of the Sun. The front page of the Star is all about Big Brother. Charlie will win Big Brother. Emily reveals truth about BB plot. It's on the front page of most of the papers. If it's not on the front page, then it's you go in and it's there. It's there. Page 3, page 4, page 5. It's Big Brother. Big Brother. Do people still watch it?
But is it anything new? Isn't it not just the same rubbish?
Nuts and sluts.
People?
That's all it is. Nuts and sluts in there.
Yeah, I don't watch it. I think that life is too important and too stressful.
It's too precious, isn't it?
Yeah. To sit there watching them and then watching them sleep.
Oh. I've got a friend who will stay up all night and he'll watch. I think it's on the E4. He'll watch people sleeping. The Big Brother people. He doesn't break into people's houses and watch that. That'll be weird. But he watches the Big Brother people sleeping. And you say, well, why are you doing that? Oh, well, something may happen. Well, if it does happen, then it'll be in the main Big Brother show. But go and get a life.
No, have a hot chocolate and some cookies and go to bed.
Heather, it sounds like good advice. I might indulge in that later on. 0870 9090 973. Are you an older mum? Do you regret having a baby in older life? And fellas, I want you to let me know what you think about older mums. Do you think it's right? You've been a bit quiet on this one, chap, so come on. Keep the side up. 0870 9090 973. Let's, you can text in as well, 84850. There's some text here. 69. Oh, okay. Well done. Thank you. You got me there. 41 should be the age. Iain, 40 would be the top age for me, says Lindsay. 33 from High Wycombe, married, no kids yet. Iain, I find it more offensive that girls can get breast enlargements on the NHS. So given that it is a genuine medical problem not being able to have a baby, I find your comment harsh that IVF should not be given. I'm not saying that it definitely shouldn't. I'm just kicking the idea around. The cut-off age is, I would, okay, if people sending in stupid, you can waste your money and send in stupid texts, I don't mind. We mentioned Big Brother there briefly as well. We can talk about that. Are you watching it? I may be doing something with Big Brother at some point in the next weeks. Give me some clues. What are the main talking points in Big Brother? Has it been as good this year? Has it got too sensational this year? Are you watching it? 0870 9090 973. And who are the characters and who do you want to win? Let's go to Marie. Hello, Marie.
Hello, Ian.
Who do you want to win the Big Brother?
I don't watch it, like your previous call.
Right.
I find it boring.
I'm not sure anybody's watching it.
Okay. I was phoning about the mothers.
Yes, Marie, sorry
I don't think you should have really a cut-off point.
Okay.
All right, then. My mum had me when she was 17.
Yeah.
I had my daughter when I was a bit older.
Yes.
And she being a younger mum, she had to go out to work, do things. I still end up sometimes not seeing her.
Right, yeah.
You understand me?
Yeah.
I'm an older mum, and situation had it that during recession, I didn't get back into my profession. But I was there. I was able to talk to my daughter.
Yeah.
Relate to her at school. I had certain amount of experience.
What age did you have your child, Marie?
What age?
Yeah.
I was 29.
29, okay. And you consider that an older mother, would you?
I was a more mature mother.
Okay, that's
gone to college.
See, I think the perfect time is either do it in the early 20s, or probably because you're probably more financially sound and a bit more worldly wise. I would say late 20s, early 30s, or between 28 and 32. That sounds to me like a perfect time to have a child.
I don't think it really matters because at the end of the day, if you are an older, then think of it this way: you become a grandmother.
Yeah.
You're there still catering for the child, the grandchild, while your daughter or your son is at work. And you're
Does that happen?
helping out.
I don't know if that happens anymore. I don't know.
It does.
I think families are so spread out that do people really dump the kids off with the grandparents during the week? Does that happen?
No, my daughter saw her grandmother and her grandfather.
Okay.
And they got a good Well, we all got a good relationship. We talk and everything. And you see a lot of elderly women pushing prams, their grandchildren.
Yeah.
So them being older, don't make them increpid or whatever. All right, then they're older.
I'm not saying that old people. Listen, I'm not saying that an old person is increpid. What I am saying is that, an elderly person, a grandparent in their 50s or 60s, they can look after a kid for a day. They can look after a kid for 4 or 5, but permanently, really, 24/7. I don't know if they can. I don't think they've got the stamina, Marie.
Say you should have a cut-off point because some older people is really young. You see them jogging. You don't see young people jogging. I see quite elderly men jogging
sorry.
along the street.
Yep.
Doing exercise, keeping. You're as young as you feel.
So you've seen older people. I've not seen any older people jogging or doing exercise. I've not seen that. I don't think.
40s, 50s. See them up to the other day. I saw two jogging along the street,
and they were doing exercise, were they?
Yeah, because I hurt my back.
Right.
You know what I mean?
When was the last time you exercised?
I haven't.
You never have.
No.
Join one of them Jiminy Bobs.
No.
Marie, it's been great fun talking to you.
And you too.
Bye bye. 0870 90 90 973 is the telephone number. John.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, John.
I've got a couple of points. Well, one main one, but I'd just say, if it's okay to start with, that, I think saying an age that people are allowed to have children, I mean, we're losing so many rights as it goes.
Yeah.
Putting a rate on it is a bit tricky. But
well, I think you have to. There has to be a cut-off point when you have to say no.
Enough. Personally, I would say kind of mid-30s, but I think the point I want to say is that quite often by having a cut-off point, but quite often women especially, obviously, reach that age and want to have a child, so they wind up having a child with someone they don't necessarily want to have it with.
Right.
And then ultimately the relationship goes bad and the environment's worse for the child.
Yeah.
So if they're older and they are with someone they want, they're going to give that child a better family unit. And ultimately that is going to build a better human, I suppose. So, they might be looking after their 70-year-old mum, but they might be more, I don't know, feel more kind of...
But would an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old, really want to be lumbered with looking after mum at 60, 70? That doesn't seem fair, John.
No, it doesn't. But
it's not fair.
You'll find that a hell of a lot of parents actually had their kids for that reason.
To look after them. I think they do, and I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong.
So do I. But I mean, I bet if many parents actually asked, why did they have a child, there'll probably be selfish reasons, won't they? They won't say, I wanted to give someone a life.
Yeah, John, I think you're right. Thank you for that. Let's go to Ingrid. Ingrid.
Hello?
Hello, Ingrid. You're on the radio. What can I do for you?
No, I'm just going to say that I had my 5th baby when I was 43, so I don't actually think there is any cut-off point.
Well, there isn't, but there should be.
Why?
Well, because at 43, you're too old to look after a baby.
I'm not too old. He's 17 now. I'm 16. He's fine. And he never any problems with me at school, looking old or anything like that.
Shall I tell you? Was there a stigma attached when you went to the school and you were an old lady and there were lots of young mums there? Did they say anything?
No, because I didn't look an old lady. I'm not an old lady, although I'm 60. I'm not
60. All due respect, Ingrid, 60 is old.
Well, I don't think it is. I'm quite young.
No, it is. I'm not being rude, but 60 is old.
Well, I don't think it is. I don't feel old.
It is, though. It is. I know you don't think it. I'm not picking on you, but I think if you asked anybody under the age of 40, was 60 old, I think they would all say yes.
Well, I mean, I don't think my son is 17's got any problems. He's no problems at school. He's no problems now with his mates coming round and whatever.
Shall I tell you what I think the cut-off age should be, Ingrid?
What?
The maximum age that a woman should have a baby is 42, and that's in real special circumstances.
Oh, well, I was only a year older than that, so I'm not too bad.
Well, but you're still beyond the cut-off point.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, if you say so, but I don't think I am, but there you go.
Well, but you are beyond the cut... Yeah, so I'm not being pedantic, but you are beyond the cut-off point that if I said it at 42, then that you would have been beyond it.
Oh, okay, so you said that's it, 42 is the definite.
That's the 42, I think, is 42, and we're getting some text in, 84850. You can text in, let me know what you think the cut-off age should be. 42 should be the maximum age that a woman can have a baby. And have you been watching Big Brother this year? Any good? It's the travel news now. Here's Will.
Thank you very much, Heathrow Terminal.
Okay, 84850 is the text number. 0870 9090 973 is the phone number. Iain at lbc.co.uk is the number. We spent the first hour talking about the war on terror. We may come back to that towards the end of the show if there are people. I know we had a lot of calls on that. We may dip back into that in the last hour of the show. Coming up after 9. What do you make of all this weather? Scary, huh? Is it global warming? Or is it just natural? Are we just having some freaky weather? And is recycling going to save the planet? I'm not sure. We'll talk about that after 9. In this hour, though, we're referring to the story that's in the papers, it was in the Standard, I think, and it'll be in the papers tomorrow, that the Countess of Wessex, Sophie, married to Prince Edward, at the age of 42, is having her, I think it's her second baby. The 40s are the new 30s. We're getting younger, older. Is it right that old women should be allowed to have babies? What is the cut-off point? I've already thrown my hat into the ring. 42. 42, and that's in extreme circumstances, should be the maximum age that a woman is allowed to have a baby. You've been texting in on 84850 your suggestions of what the maximum age should be. I'm 38, I have 5 children, the first at 18, the last at 30. I'm glad I had my children early, as I can still enjoy my life. 35 max. My mum had me at 42 and my sister at 46. She was a menopausal maniac who made our lives hell. Okay. You can email as well, Iain at lbc.co.uk if you want to. Who's been on the line the longest? Lucy has. Hello, Lucy.
Hello there.
Hello, Lucy. What can I do for you?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say, I think 42 is a good age. I'm 42 myself. It would be nice to have been able to have got pregnant, but unfortunately I haven't been able to. So,
Is that for medical reasons?
Well, just no, actually. I've had lots of tests, nothing wrong with me, but just haven't.
It's just not happened.
Well, no, in fact, I did wait until I was about sort of 38.
Right.
Because I wasn't with the right guy.
Yeah.
But that's irresponsible there, isn't it?
Mm. Have you heard, someone called in earlier on and said that there are a lot, I didn't know, I don't know if this is true, I thought this was just kind of a Sex and the City fantasy, that there are a lot of older women who are just either paying men or just sleeping around or getting a friend just to have sex with them, just to get them pregnant. Have you heard about this?
Well, there's a program, I can't think what it is, one of the, is it Coronation Street? They're doing that line at the moment.
Oh, are they really? I've not seen Coronation Street for about a year and a half now.
The gay guy is obviously to get the blonde girl that works behind the bar pregnant because she's desperate for a child.
Really?
So, yeah. But anyway, just thought I'd...
Lucy, listen, thank you very, very much for that. It's good to talk to you. It's a bit quiet on the line there, so we're going to go to Trish. Hello, Trish.
Hi.
Hello.
I had my baby when I was 34.
Right.
And my husband was 36, 37. And we were always being mistaken for his grandparents.
No, you weren't. At 34?
At 34.
Do you look particularly haggard, the pair of you?
No, I don't think so. We're 52 and 57 now.
Well, I'm 34, and if I had I haven't got any kids, but if I have a kid, I'd be terribly offended if I was. Was that your? So what? People will come up to you in the street and say, "Is that your grandson?"
If we were out with him, and people would, and they'd chat to him and everything, and they'd say, "Oh, your grandson, he's so lovely." And we used to say,
"Oh no."
And my husband and son fish. I mean, my son's 18 now, and they were fishing the other day. And my husband went off to pay, and he was charged the pensioner's rate.
Oh, really?
But I'm glad I didn't leave it any longer.
Yeah, 34 to me.
It can be pretty. I mean, he's 18, and we've got all those worries about he goes out with his mates and all those terrible things that are happening these days. And
so you're 52 now, aren't you?
I'm 52.
Because I think as well, the thing is, I just thought this, when you're 18-year-olds are involved, they can come into contact with a lot of extremes of youth pop culture. For example, drugs, pop concerts, staying out all night. These things happen. I think if you get too old, late 50s, early 60s, you're so far removed from that, you're completely out of touch with what's going through.
He's just been to download, and he went to download.
He downloaded what?
To download Festival.
The Festival. You see, I'm already out of touch, and I'm 34 years old.
And he's been to Meltdown.
Right.
And
you are saying those words as though you're not quite sure what they are, Trish.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Have you ever been tempted to go to a festival with him?
No.
No,
no, mud and tents and things. But we have a pretty good time with him. But, most of his friends' parents are a good 10 years younger than we are.
Was that weird, though, hanging around outside school and you're hanging around with all these 20-year-olds, 30-year-olds?
Well, there were a few of us.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, Trish, very quickly, have you been watching any of this year's Big Brother?
Well, I must confess, I'm suffering from a temporary loss of sight at the moment.
Why? What's happened?
Well, I've had some hemorrhaging in my eyes.
Oh my God!
I can't see, and I've been off work for about 2 months now, but I'm going into hospital to have it fixed. So I'm glued to my radio.
Really? So hang on, can you see nothing at all?
Well, it's just like looking through fog.
Wow.
At the moment.
That must be quite scary, I'd have thought.
It's not so bad if you're... I'm at home, obviously. I can't go out and get run over. But if you know where everything else... If you know where everything is in your house, you're all right.
Yeah, and they can treat it, it's going to be all right, is it?
It's going to be fine.
Okay, well, best of luck with that, Trish.
I'm glued to LBC.
Well, fantastic.
Morning, noon and night.
Fantastic. Well, you keep your dial on 97.3, Trish, and I hope it goes well for you.
Okay, thanks
Take care, bye-bye. I'm surprised no one has phoned in and said, I'm loving the Big Brother. Which makes me think maybe it's peaked. Maybe it's past its sell-by date. 0870 90 90 973. Are you a fan of the Big Brother? I am surprised, genuinely. The 3-4 people I've asked on the show, none of them have been watching it. And yet, you get the front page of The Star... It's all over the front page. One of the papers, is it The Star? Yeah, The Star is giving a pull-out about Big Brother every single day. 0870 90 90 973. Jill.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Jill.
Hello. Ian, I do watch Big Brother. I catch up occasionally.
Oh, okay. So you're the first Big Brother viewer we've had.
Have a look. Yes, I do. I'm not glued to it. I think it's hilarious that people do actually, I'm told, watch people sleep.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny. Anyway, I was more ringing about the the upper age for women to have children.
Okay. 42.
I was working it out. I'm in my 70s now, and I had my children between 21 and 31 over a period. And I was thinking...
That sounds about right.
To be actually honest with myself, I was thinking... My first grandchild was born, he's 25 now, so he was born when I was 45.
Right.
And I seriously wouldn't have relished being his main carer for, permanently.
They're exhausting!
Oh,
they're so tiring. I love it when Dylan comes around. I love it. It's the best thing. He's too the best thing. But God Almighty, when he goes, I just sit down, have a big cup of tea, and almost fall asleep.
Mind you, I'm surprised at you. You're only a young.
Well, I'm 34 and I'm starting to feel it, I'll be honest with you.
And the other thing I want to ask you, Iain,
Yes, Jill.
what is the upper age range then for men?
55.
Why?
Why? Well, because the men don't have to go through the physical trauma of childbirth and the actual carrying of the baby. So they haven't got that physical side effect. And also, men are fitter longer, generally.
I was just thinking, mind you, they die a lot earlier than women.
Well, that is statistically true, Jill. Jill, I've got to go to the break, but thank you for that. Well, there we go. I'll put my cards on the table. 42 for the mum, 55 for the dad. What do you think of that? Am I out of order? 0870 90 90 973. Let's go to Rose in Dagenham. Hello, Rose.
Hello, good afternoon. Yeah.
Good evening.
I was just a first-time caller to your program. I was just listening while I was driving on my way home.
Right. Rose, are you on speakerphone? Can you put the phone nearer your mouth? Because it's a terrible line.
Hello?
Hello, that's better.
Okay, yes. I was just driving and listening to the age of the kids.
Yes.
Now, I had my first child when I was 24, so my child is 22 now.
Right.
My next one is 17, and my last child, my love child, is 4.
Right.
Now, I had that child when I was 42.
Okay, so that's the maximum cut-off point if I became the king.
Yes, but the thing is, it's not the age, because you look at some of these kids who are having kids and they can't cope either.
Right.
They're not coping. So if you were to balance the table and you're going to put some person to really say the cutoff age is 42, you know the career-minded women, because I'm a career person, is going to go later on in age because they're going to see that the career comes first.
Yes.
And then we're in a better position.
Well, I think we'd agree, Rose, that the perfect age, probably physically, emotionally, mentally and financially to have a child for a woman is between 28 and 32.
No, that's putting too much pressure.
Well, I'm not saying I'm just saying that 4-year window. That four-year window is probably the perfect time statistically for a woman to pass a baby.
Okay, so what are you saying? What I'm picking up is that past the age of 42, physically you're not capable.
Correct.
Or mentally you're not capable.
Correct.
No, but I think that's really unfair because.
Well, it's not unfair. It's a fact. It's a fact, Rose.
How many, look at the age of retirement. Let's go to the age of retirement. I think you talk about 55 and the child being...
Well, no, it's not. It's retirement is the age. Retirement is 60 for a woman, 65 for a man.
You're still working. You still have to have some form of strength in which to go on. Isn't that so? So if
Rose, you're saying, hang on, you're saying that if you can work at 60, then you can bring up a 5-year-old. Is that what you're saying?
No, not a 5-year-old. I wouldn't go 60.
Well, then what are you saying?
I'm saying that 42 is just not putting an age limit.
42
once we go over in the 50 bracket.
Okay, what would you say? Okay, then. What would you say? Okay. Will you shut up? What would you say is the maximum age a woman can have a baby?
I wouldn't put an age limit.
Well, what would you say? Would you say that 60's all right?
No, I wouldn't go.
Would you say that 50's all right?
I wouldn't go past 50, but I would.
So you'd say 50 is the maximum age?
I would say yes, definitely.
Well, and you don't think that that's dangerous?
No.
Rose, you're an absolute idiot. Let's try and squeeze in Victoria. Victoria, we haven't got much time. You're watching Big Brother, are you?
Oh, yeah.
Is it any good this year?
Sorry?
Is it any good this year?
No, I have to say, I must admit, I'm about 10 episodes behind, or, programmes behind. I'm Sky Plus.
Oh, you're not Sky Plus. Just go and watch it tonight. You don't have to do the Sky Plus.
Well, no, I'm normally quite busy when it's on, and I can't be doing with, building my life around the TV. I watch it when and if I've got the time.
So you Victoria, I've got to go. You can't be building her life around TV, but she's got 10 episodes of Big Brother to watch on the Sky Plus. Okay, in the next hour, what do you make of all this weather? The floods? The weather today was all over the place. Is it global warming? Find out after the news. Just, getting a nice cup of rooibos. Thank you very much for that. Roger's emailed him. So let's have a quick recap of what we talked about the first hour. We talked about terrorism, the war on terror. Apparently, I've just been told there have been 30... Oh, I left that in there. Sorry, I'll come and get that in a second. Sorry. We can bring it. There have been 30 reported incidents. Was it 30 reported incidents? Is it in the southeast? Yeah? In the southeast this evening. Of, I guess, suspicious packages, suspicious cars. Makes you think, doesn't it? Makes you think. Okay, well, it does make you think. Anyway, so we were talking about that. The last hour we were talking about older mums. What is the cut-off point that a woman should be allowed to have a baby? I think it's 42. I think if a woman has a baby at 50, she's being incredibly selfish, and it should not be allowed. Big Brother, we've not had many callers phoning in say, yes, Ian, I'm enjoying the Big Brother this year. I'm making... We had one woman who had... her life isn't ruled by TV, she said, but she's got 10 episodes of Big Brother on the Sky Plus. What's that all about? 0870 9090 973. Are you watching the Big Brother? Are you enjoying it? Is it as good this year? Or have they gone taking it a little bit too far? But I tell you the thing I really want to talk about in this last hour. Have you seen the weather? It's insane at the moment. Floods all over the country. Brilliant sunshine at some points. It's July. It's July. Sheffield was closed down because of floods. And we all laugh about it. We all laugh about it down here. I think it's a bit funny. But did you see it on Sky News the other day when they were in some poor so-and-so's house? The guy was downstairs in his living room. The water was up to his chest. His chest. That's not right, is it? Why is that happening? Is that global warming? Is it something that we have caused? Do you remember the hole in the ozone layer that was getting bigger? Do you remember the hole in the ozone layer that was getting bigger and bigger in the 80s because you and I were using deodorant? That's not been mentioned for a long time, is it? The greenhouse effect. That doesn't get mentioned anymore. So, could global warming just be a new fad? Does it really have any effect on the weather, on the way we live? Or is it, and this is what I think that the changes in the climate and the weather that are happening at the moment are completely natural. It happens. The weather changes over millions of years, over hundreds of thousands of years, and we're just going through a change. We're coming out of the end of an ice age. And the ice age can't end until the polar ice caps are completely melted. It's just a natural phenomenon. Recycling isn't going to stop it. You getting on your bike to go to work isn't going to stop it. It's going to happen whatever we do. 0870 9090 973. Do you agree with me? Is there any point in recycling? I don't think there is. I do it because I'm told I have to do it. It's drummed into my head that I have to recycle, so I do it. I don't know what the end result is. They chuck all the stuff into the back of the same van. Well, I don't know where it goes. I don't think they... I'm sure they just put it in a big landfill. 0870 9090 973. Who is to blame for global warming? We'll speak to Paul in a minute in Archway, who's a big fan of the Big Brother. But first of all, you could win a Chevrolet Matiz crammed full of things that you can buy at Croydon's Whitgift Centre and Phoenix Croydon Chevrolet. This is all next week on London's Biggest Conversation, LBC 97.3, one of the fastest growing radio stations in the country. From next Monday, you can see a 5-door Chevrolet Matiz jam-packed with goodies. Just tell us how much the car and its contents are worth, and you could be driving off with the lot. Now, that sounds a bit tough. Well, you can find some clues. If you visit our website, lbc.co.uk, you can... I wouldn't mind one of those Chevrolets. Those Chevrolet Matiz. Have you seen those, Alex? Have you seen them?
Yeah.
They're good, aren't they? Oh, fad, I'd like one of them. Not allowed to enter it. We're not allowed to enter it because we work here.
Political correctness gone mad.
It is. We're not allowed to enter it. But you are. If you're listening to this now and you don't work for LBC, you can enter it. If you want to find out, get some clues, have a look at the website, lbc.co.uk. You could drive off with a brand new car with Phoenix Croydon Chevrolet, the Whitgift Centre, for the biggest choice in town, and London's LBC 97.3. Paul!
Good evening!
OK, if you're just going to mess around, not having any of that. Karen!
Hello.
Hello, Karen.
Hi.
Are you an older mum?
I am an older mum.
OK,
yes.
go on, tell me the story.
I don't feel it.
Tell me the story.
Well, I'm 42 and I've just had my first baby.
You've just had your first baby?
Yeah.
You're planning on having more?
I don't know. We'll wait and see.
Okay. Well, everything went well and smoothly, didn't it?
Everything went really smoothly, yeah. I mean, I was really fortunate. I was able to have a natural conception really quickly, had a normal birth, and baby's healthy.
Why did you wait till you were quite old?
circumstances, really, I guess.
Right.
You know,
Right.
busy with work, not finding the right partner.
Yeah.
Just life. I think people's lives tend to push all of this stuff a bit further on in
Yeah.
their life nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you agree, though, that if you get much older than 42, it's a little bit selfish, isn't it?
It's interesting because I had this conversation with my partner about having a child. Maybe in some respects is a selfish thing, no matter what, at any age. But the minute that you have the child, suddenly it's selfless. You're not selfish at all anymore.
Right.
It's all about the child.
Right.
And I think that if you are older, I think, you know, if I were to have another child, I'd probably want to do it sooner rather than later.
Right.
And I wouldn't leave it very much longer. And I think that, you could be pretty selfish if you progress to...
Karen, what would you say is the maximum age for a woman and a maximum age for a man? Because I do think there is a difference betwixt the two.
I think for a maximum age for a woman, personally, I probably wouldn't push it beyond 45.
Right, yeah.
For a man, interesting one, but the man's got to, in the old school, provide for the woman.
Well, a man is producing fully functional sperm into his 70s.
Yeah, but is it about? You're not talking about the physicality of it.
No, I'm
really.
not. No.
Because I was able to have a natural conception, fortunately, but a lot of people much much younger than me have to go through all sorts of things to get where they are. But the other point I really wanted to add was, is it about age or is it really about health and someone's state of health? Because there's people. I don't look my age. People are really surprised when they hear how old I am.
Okay.
Also, I'm obviously in reasonably fit state, but there's a lot of people who are in their 20s who aren't. There's a lot of people who are ill with diabetes or are obese or whatever. They can't run around and look after their kids, even at whatever age they are, if they're in their 20s or whatever. So surely it's about how fit and healthy a person is.
Karen, thank you very much there. Karen, they're saying that fat people and people with diabetes perhaps shouldn't be allowed to have children. What do you think about that? 0870 9090 973. But I do really want to talk in the last hour. Don't forget Clive Bull's on at 10 o'clock. If you want some more serious debate, then listen to Clive through the night. Through till 1 o'clock, and then is Bill back? I think Bill Buckley's on from 1. I do want to know what you think about this whole global warming. The whole weather thing has gone insane. John, the weather has gone mental, hasn't it?
It certainly has, Ian. And I'll tell you what I think's making it worse now.
Yeah.
These outdoor heaters they have outside pubs.
You're just pumping heat and gas. You might as well just get a load of gas and let it off into the air.
Exactly, they're just pumping heat straight up into the air.
Ridiculous.
I heard that each one of them pumps out about the same amount of as a car does doing 6,000 miles a year.
Really?
Yes.
Absolutely insane. And yet they're all outside these trendy gastropubs and all these fancy chains of go and put a jumper on or sit inside.
Holy moly, yes, I agree with you completely there.
John, listen, I've got to move on. Thank you very much for that. 0870 9090 973. Were you out in the weather today? Did you see the hailstorm? I was out in Slough. And it was thunderbolt and lightning and raining at about 4:30 for about 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then it moved on. And a friend of mine phoned me up just after about 5:20, so maybe about 35, 40 minutes later. And said, I'm in London, I'm in West London, the storm here is absolutely terrible. She'd left the kitchen window open, there were hailstones all over the kitchen floor. That can't be right. I was driving into the storm, I was coming from Slough, just north of Slough, so coming along the M40, A40, driving towards London to get here to obviously do this show for you tonight. And it was brilliant sunshine where I was, and I could see that over London it was pitch black. Pitch black. 0870 9090 973. Were you out in the weather today? Did you see the hailstorm? Were you in it? Why is London flooded? 0870 9090 973. What can we do to stop the global warming? I don't think we can do anything. I'll be honest with you, I don't think we can do anything. Live in first floor flats. I think that's the safe option. Watching these poor beggars on Sky News where it's all flooded. First of all, if you know that you live near a river, move. If you live in low-lying land, move. If you live on the ground floor, move. That seems obvious to me. 0870 973. We'll speak to Eleanor in a minute. You can text as well, don't forget, 84850. And the email address, if you want to email, it's free, Iain, Iain, at lbc.co.uk. It's the travel news now with Will.
Thank you very much, Heathrow.
Don't forget, Thursday night, it's a very special guest coming from, a guest from America, Joe Lavens, ufologist, an expert on UFOs, government conspiracies. He's interviewed hundreds of members of the military who claim to have seen UFOs, as well as civilians, and he's really clued up. I think, I've not read his book yet. I'm hoping he's going to send me a copy. We should be getting it tomorrow before he comes in so I can skim through it. But he's seen leaked government documents relating to UFOs. So that's Joe Lavens coming in Thursday night. I think about 8 o'clock he's going to be on. So something to look forward to. At the moment, though, the two main talking points for the last 40 minutes. 9 already. Where's it gone? So much more I wanted to talk about. We didn't get to... we've not mentioned the smoking ban. We've not mentioned the Doctor Who and the BBC and their bomb blast. Not mentioned Pete Doherty. Maybe we'll do those tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe we'll squeeze some of those in. I don't know. But the main talking points at the moment. Big Brother. Are you watching it? Is it any good this time around? I think it's longer this year than it's ever been. I think it's like 3 or 4 weeks longer. Is that too long? Have we got bored of Big Brother? Why do we find it fascinating? And they are nuts and sluts. That's what they are. Why do we find it fascinating watching a group of freaks cavorting around in the house? It's on the front page of nearly all of the papers. Are you watching it? Are you obsessed with it? One woman we had phoned up, she's got 10 of them on the Sky Plus. She's going to watch them all in one go. Are you one of these obsessives that watches E4? Have you had enough of Davina? I've got to be honest. I've got a bit of a soft spot for Davina. I do think she's beautiful. 0870 90 90 953. I think there are more people in it this year as well, aren't they? What does Big Brother say about human nature, about us, about me, about you? 0870 90 90 973 84850 Iain at lbc.co.uk. The other talking point in this hour is global warming and this weather. I'm looking out now. It's kind of cloudy. It's kind of overcast. It's July, everybody. It should be a warm summer's evening out there. I think it's time for us to wake up and smell the coffee. 0870 90 90 973. Global warming. Is it actually happening? Does it exist? Or is it just a natural phenomenon? Do we really have any effect over it? You put in your plastic milk bottles, your little tinfoil trays in the recycling bin. That's not going to change anything. Eleanor, you're in the Highgate.
Hi.
Hi, Eleanor. Yeah, I'm all right.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Because, quite rightly so, where is all this recycled garbage going?
Yeah.
And, really, what effect will it have in the long term on this so-called planet of ours?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where paper is concerned, I burn it or I compost, the food and I shove it in the garden because it just happens to be good for the garden.
Yeah.
But I am not buying into this whole nonsense about, can't fly, mustn't drive my car, not buying it, and I agree with you 100%. It is basically Mother Nature doing what Mother Nature does. And as you said before, the polar ice caps will be melting, and there's nothing we can do to stop that.
So does it get on your nerves, Eleanor, when you get all of these people saying, well, you've got to be doing this, or we've got to stop carbon footprints? Carbon footprints is the big new trendy phrase to bandy around, and if you're going to fly in an aeroplane, you should plant 2 trees. It doesn't... Exactly where? It doesn't make any difference whatsoever.
I live in central London. No. I'm in Regent Street at the moment. Where should I plant the tree?
Well, I don't think you physically do. I think I think you pay a company £200 and they go and supposedly plant it for you.
Not buying it, Iain. Not buying it, and I won't buy into it because with all of these so-called scientists who say that this is what we're doing. Most of them work for the government that are actually putting forward all this propaganda, and I'm just not buying into it.
Eleanor, can you stay there for a second? Tracy, do you agree with Eleanor?
No, I think she's talking a whole load of nonsense about recycling, actually.
Why?
In fact, I spent my day at a recycling centre today. And are you still there?
I'm just a whole day at a recycling centre. What for?
to see what they do with the stuff that we send to recycling centres, basically.
Okay.
And they do. I mean, if we don't recycle, where are we going to put it? In landfill?
Well, that's where it goes, because the majority of so-called recycling does not end up...
We're running out of landfill sites. We're running out of landfill sites, for one, because the government doesn't want us to put our rubbish in landfill anymore. The cost of landfill is so enormous now that councils have to look for other ways of dealing with rubbish. The amount of stuff that gets recycled is really hugely important. Glass is turned into new glass bottles. It's turned into new paper.
Manufacturing and at supermarkets who wrap everything in sort of 3 times the amount of packaging that is...
You always need a newspaper to read. You always need a newspaper to write a shopping list on. You always need paper. So instead of cutting down more trees to make paper, why don't we recycle the paper and make recycled paper?
But they are recycling it, and obviously it's not doing the job, and at the end of the day...
Because not enough people want to come on board. People like yourself who think it's a whole load of hogwash.
You're not dealing with the problem where it's supposed to start from, which is really in manufacturing, in distribution... And at the start of the
what can you put a bottle of beer in? You have to put a bottle of beer in a bottle. You have to put glass and milk in a plastic container. You can't just go and get milk in a bowl. You can't go down to the local supermarket and say, oh, I'll just have a couple of pints in my bowl and then carry it home. It's got to be put into something. Yes, some manufacturers are OTT, mostly toy manufacturers, actually. Toy manufacturers are obsessed with packaging.
But at the end of the day, I'm
a milk bottle.
At the end of the day, packaging is what sells, all the brands, all the products. However, it is not my responsibility to, at the end of the supply chain, be responsible for recycling something that's been put out into the environment.
You're drinking the pint of milk.
I'm not, and
then you're happy to put that pint of milk in the ground.
I pay enough rate for that service to be done for me. I am not...
I can come into your house and recycle, can I, for you?
I don't need anybody to come into my house and do anything. I'm quite capable of sorting things out. However, what I'm saying is I'm not buying into any more of this propaganda that at the end of the day, I, as an individual citizen, am being held responsible for, if you want, the sins of the larger corporates.
I'm sorry, you drink milk.
Take it on board.
You drink milk.
Intolerant.
So what's happened to your milk bottle?
I don't drink beer, and therefore, from that point...
But you drink something. You must drink bottled water, or you must drink milk, or you must drink tea or coffee.
No, one mustn't.
Buy your coffee in a glass jar.
Never assume anything, ma'am, because that's where you start, getting into an awful pickle. Never assume anything.
I recycle everything that I possibly can. Because I think I have a social responsibility.
Oh, well, then, so be it. However, it's my prerogative. I pay in excess of...
Well, nobody's making you recycle.
My local authority.
You don't pay rates anymore. Rates went out the window years ago. You pay council tax.
Nothing
to do with recycling.
The rates are high enough for an organisation to actually take care of that. I don't need to go and...
But they'll have to come into your house and take your rubbish from your house. To recycle it, won't they?
What are you talking about?
So you're saying that you pay so much council tax.
It goes
your council
and they
collectors should come and collect your rubbish and then sort it for you.
And I'm now shutting off. Thank you so much for your time, sir. I enjoy your programme. Thank you for the discussion.
I'm not a man.
Good evening, sir. Bye-bye, Iain. See you.
Tracy, you are definitely not a man, are you?
No, I'm not a man.
Okay, well, thanks very much for that. I'm glad we cleared that confusion up there. 087, that was exciting, wasn't it? 0870 9090973. If you managed to pick out what was going on there, what do you make of all that? Paul's in Maidstone. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Hello, Paul. You're on the radio.
Yeah, hi. Good evening. I've got some important things to say about this global warming, Iain. I don't know if you saw that programme that was on a few months ago called The Great Global Warming Swindle.
I didn't see it, no.
Well, there's some interesting facts on there, which, incidentally, it's a bit strange that all the people that are telling us about the global warming don't seem to actually come up with any facts as such. But they were saying that the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is 2%.
Wow. I don't know what that means.
Well, you know that they're saying the global warming is because of the carbon dioxide, the carbon emissions.
Right.
Well, out of the total atmosphere on the planet, the carbon dioxide only makes up 2%.
Right.
And of that 2%, we are only responsible for 0.5 of that 2%.
Where does the rest of it come from? Is this there naturally?
Well, yeah, it comes from the sea.
Right, the sea.
Apparently, the warmer it gets, the sea warms up and releases carbon dioxide. But the other things is that during the war, the government got everyone to put all their pots and pans all together for the war effort, for metal, for ammunition.
Okay.
All the pots and pans actually were no good for that, but everyone was sold this idea that if they all do that, it'll all be for the good.
Right.
And I believe, really, that this is another thing that's happening now.
Right.
The government's telling us about the global warming. The ice caps melt every year, apparently.
Yeah.
And they melt and refreeze, and there's been a lot of warmer times back in history. In the medieval times, there was a long, warmer period than this, and all these facts on this programme were displayed on graphs and everything.
Well, it makes sense. If you look at where we are now, we're a tiny millisecond in the entire Earth's existence, and the weather changes there. At one point, the entire Earth was completely frozen over. At one point, it was completely hot and covered in water. It changes all the time, Paul.
That's right, and exactly. And
Paul, listen, I've got to move on. Thank you very much for that. 0870 90 90 90. It's the last half an hour of the show already. Rattled through it. Okay, well, now's your time to give us a call. It's a really good time to give us a call. There's a couple of lines free. We've got 2 lines free. 0870 909. 1 line free. 90973 is the telephone number. What do you make of this global warming? Does it really exist? Do we really have any effect on it? Do you recycle, or have you given up? And is you riding a bike to work going to change anything?
3.
That's the phone number to give us a call the last 30 minutes of the show. Excuse me. Frog in my throat. Clive Bull's on at 10 o'clock. So more debate, hard debate. Talking about the topics of the day. Bill Buckley's on at 1 o'clock. And there we go. So what have we talked about so far? You've just tuned in. You don't know what's happening. Well, you've missed a fantastic show. And I've got to say thank you to everyone that's called in so far. You've really made... It's really you guys that make the show what it is. And you've put forward some really interesting points. The first hour of the show, we kicked off talking about terrorism, the war on terror. Can we ever win it? Are we winning it? Are you afraid of what's going on? Do you feel intimidated? Have you stopped using the underground? Have you cancelled a flight? Have you been involved somehow, affected by the recent events, including Glasgow, in London? 30 incidents this evening. 30 incidents have been reported in the southeast this evening. And I guess that means suspicious packages, suspicious cars, suspicious people. Can we really, really win the war on terror? 0870 90 90 973. The second hour, we talked about older women having babies. This is Sophie, Prince Edward's wife, the Countess of Wessex, is having a baby at the age of 42. 42's got to be the maximum age that a woman should be allowed to have a baby. Shouldn't she? 0870 90 90 973. What do you think is the maximum age that a woman should have a baby? And a man, because there is a difference, I think. I think women should not be allowed to have babies after 42, and men should be stopped after 55. I think that sounds fair. And in this hour, we've mentioned global warming, the myth, I think we're beginning to realise, that is global warming. Can recycling really affect the weather? 0870 90 90 973. We're finding a few people who've been enjoying Big Brother. Most of you aren't bothering with it. 1 or 2 of you are enjoying it. I'd really like to speak to you before 10 o'clock, if we can. If you're the Big Brother obsessive, if you are just fanatical about Big Brother, I want to speak to you before 10 o'clock. It's not on now. What time does Big Brother start? I think it starts at 10, actually, so... 0870 90 90 973. But going back to what we were talking about earlier on, older parents, it's David.
Hi, Ian.
Hello, David.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
Excellent. First time caller, long time listener.
Excellent, thank you.
Just wanted to phone up and say, really, my wife recently gave birth. I won't mention her name, I don't want to advertise. But at the end of the day, I'm 42.
I'm going to dump that. Did we dump that? Sorry about that, we had to use the dump button there. Idiots phoning up and being offensive down the phone. Let's go to Effie. Hello, Effie.
Hiya.
Hello there.
Hi. I want to talk about the age about women having babies 42. I guess I agree with that, but I don't agree with men having babies at 55.
Right. Oh, okay. Why not?
55, it's too old.
For a man...
Imagine until when the child gets to 17 years old, he's so old. He's an old man. What can he do with that child?
Do you know what? I kind of... Okay. Well, let's bring it down to 50 for men.
Okay, I have thought about it. I thought 50, okay, fair enough.
Because women do age worse than men, don't they?
Well, I don't know. That's not true. That's rubbish. That's us women. We look after ourselves.
I think
they let themselves go.
I think a man at 55 is going to be a lot fitter than a woman at 55. And you'd agree that there have to be a difference.
What kind of life you have, I guess.
You'd agree there'd have to be a difference because women do have to go through the physical rigours of carrying a child.
Carrying the child.
And I think beyond 42, they're just not up to it.
At 42, I agree. I mean, I'm 36, and I thought of having a child just no way. I had my son at 22. But another thing I want to bring up is my mum was a diabetic. She was a type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
She was on insulin from the age of 16, and she was warned that she should never have children.
Why is that? Because someone called in earlier on and said that fat people and diabetics shouldn't be allowed to have children.
Do you know what? I mean, after hearing it on the radio, I'm not even quite sure. It was just a big risk. It was. Right. I mean, I was born. I was premature, but I was a bigger than average baby.
Okay.
I was heavy. I don't know whether that's got something to do with it. Right. But I was born fine. My brother was as well. But then there was always a worry that it would miss a generation, and that my son would be a diabetic.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
is it true that diabetes can develop later in life, or are you born?
My mum. No, you're not born with it. My mum was diagnosed at the age of 16.
Wow. Okay.
And she was fine up till that point, and then all of a sudden she was diagnosed.
Okay.
So no, it's not from birth.
Okay. Well, Effie, listen, it's really great to talk to you. Thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. 0870 90 90 973. That's the phone number to get your voice on London's LBC 97.3, London's biggest conversation. And with all the changes that are happening here at the moment, some of them are quite obvious, and some of them aren't so obvious. But it really is making strides to become the best radio station, not only in London but across the country, as more and more people are tuning in on the Sky and on DAB, digital radio. Raj.
Hello.
Hello, Raj.
Hi there. Just wanted to talk about the war on terror.
Yes, Raj.
How it could be simply won or lost.
Okay, so let's see the answer.
Okay, well, I think the way to...
Is your radio on, Raj?
I can...
If you can turn it off, that'd be great, thank you.
Is that better? Is that better? Hello?
Yeah, that's better, I'm just checking, that's fine, yeah.
Right, okay.
Thank you, Raj.
Right, I think I think the Muslim community, for one, needs to be engaged and used as well, their cooperation to root out these people. Now,
we had one guy phoning up, I don't know if you heard the young lad, saying that he'd been in mosques and situations where he'd seen these manipulative, warped people that were corrupting young Muslims and grooming them, as it were, to become potentially terrorists. And this guy said, I said, well, have you reported them to the police? No, I've had debates with them. Well, I'm not being funny. Having a debate with someone who's a fanatic isn't going to change their mind.
Can I say something?
Yes, Raj.
A lot of these people that you'll find are more aspirational than people that will actually go out and carry. I think a lot of these people are just disgruntled with the foreign policies, and you'll see them spew all kinds of illogical nonsense, and it's hateful rhetoric. Now, I'm a Muslim myself.
Yeah.
Now, I've been to a number of mosques, and I go to pray to mosques. Now, I will be honest with you, and I'll tell you, I've not encountered people like this. Now, I've actually spoken to heads of mosques, the imams. Now, the kind of reaction I get from them is they are worried, if anything, about the mainstream view now, which is that if we're honest with ourselves, if we say Islamic and Muslim, the second one that now comes into the heads, and I will tell you this is happening to me as well, reading these newspapers, is terrorism.
Really? Is that,
it's
well, that's sad. That's very
I think
sad.
It's got to that stage. And,
I think, in defence, I would say I think it's only thick people that think that, Raj, because I think anyone with any bit of intelligence will know that the majority of Muslims are good, friendly people, and it's a tiny minority who are warped. That are terrorists, but I think sensible, clever people will be able to make that difference. But sadly, there are a lot of thick people out there.
Well, the main thing that needs to be done is there needs to be the classes and the schools that go on in the mosques over here in this country, especially. And this is one thing I have actually promoted to mosques, a number of mosques. Is the people that come to these mosques and the Friday sermons, they need to be not of what's happening in the Middle East, not of what's going on around the world, but these people need to have a better understanding of Western values, Western life, British life, and this is what needs to be preached on the mosques. How to respect it, because at the end of the day, I've read the Quran now. The Quran says the bottom line is, which is another thing I don't understand, which I actually on radio I will say to all Muslims that are listening, the first and foremost thing is you can't breaking the law of the land that you're living in, the country you're living in, the host country, is actually against Islamic principle. This is present in the Quran. That's at the rudimentary level. If you're doing that, you're breaking Islam yourself. You're breaking the rules of Islam yourself. So where these people come from with these ideas, it's completely beyond me.
Raj, I hear what you're saying. I've got to move on. Thank you very much for the call. It's appreciated, and hopefully people will have heard what you were saying there. Chris.
Hello there.
Hello, Chris.
How are you? I just wanted to phone up and just say I totally agree with you on this whole total global warming stuff. It is an absolute load of nonsense, if you ask me. I just think it's the government just trying to get people to be, how can I say, what I'm trying to say here, it's to, get people to do things more better and try and make things better. I just think it's just nonsense. Just a load of toss, if you ask me, really, mate.
So you think it's the government trying to get people to do things more better?
Yeah.
What the hell does that mean? What an idiot. It's the government trying to get people to do things more better. Well, that means nothing. Give me a call back when you've got a GCSE. Terry.
Hello, Ian. Ian, I'm 48 years old.
Yes, Terry.
I'm an ex-paramedic with the Royal Army Medical Corps.
Well done.
And I've just been diagnosed with diabetes.
It's just, really?
Yes.
I don't understand how it develops. Is it something that you've done?
Too much sugar.
No.
Too much sugar, yes.
You've eaten, what, in one session or over your life?
No, over your life.
Is it really?
Yeah.
How much
body
sugar?
Hasn't got rid of it, and insulin is not being produced, or your body is not producing insulin.
How much sugar have you had in your life to make you a diabetic?
3 sugars in my tea every day.
Oh, God.
8 or 9 cups of tea every day.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Cakes, chocolate.
And so how has it affected your life now, Terry?
100% change.
Really?
Yeah. No sugar, no cakes, no chocolate.
Oh, man, that must be hard.
Everything I used to love, I can't have. So if you used to love it, don't have it.
Terry, listen, thank you very much for that. It's fascinating. Absolutely. I didn't know that's how it happened. You just eat too much sugar and you become a diabetic. God, dearie me. Andy.
Hello.
What can I do for you?
Do you believe in global warming?
Well, I think the climate is changing, but I don't think it's through any fault of ours.
Did you know 51% of the scientists today agreed that we might be wrong, that it isn't global warming?
Right.
Have you heard of Piers Corbyn?
I've not heard of Piers Corbyn, no.
He's a man that predicts the weather 6 months in advance.
Right.
And we've got 4 tornadoes coming this month.
Right.
So, and he doesn't believe in global warming.
Right. Andy, give me something specific here. You're being very vague. You said 51% of scientists. Give me specifics, Andy.
Global warming.
Sorry?
It isn't big. They don't.
Oh no, you can't get to the point. You can't get to the point quickly enough. 73 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. I'm not having idiots phoning up. We're talking about the future of the planet here in every which way. We're talking about it in terms of terrorism and in terms of the weather and the situation and whether this country is going to be completely flooded. And I've got idiots phoning up talking nonsense. Let's see if Jack's going to be a bit more sensible. Jack, you're on the radio.
Yeah, hello, Ian.
Hello, Jack.
Sorry about that, but what I just needed to talk to you about was regarding the terrorist situation, which is really worldwide presently. And my sort of concern was that the way that we're going about sort of trying to fight it is not going to win us at all. We're trying to fight an enemy which is more or less hidden. I think at the end of the day, we have to sort of resolve, albeit not really wanted to, the way we had to sort of resolve it with the IRA, and the same thing with the PLO between the Israelis.
Sit down around the table and talk.
So we have to sit down and talk.
Can I just say, it does strike me as odd that Gordon Brown now, Tony Blair in his day, I need to say George Best, I mean George Bush, didn't somehow try and get Osama bin Laden and sit around a table with him and say, OK, what do you want? What do we have to do to stop you encouraging people to fly planes into buildings, to kill themselves on the underground? What do you want? That hasn't happened.
No, it hasn't. And that is, I mean, I'm personally, I come from the Middle East. I'm a Muslim and I'm a sort of an Iranian. And obviously, you know the history there. And presently that the Iranians and the Americans have had this sort of problems in the past. And as you see, they've eventually, slowly, they've had to sort of say, hey guys, okay, we have to sit down and talk. Americans are eventually, slowly having to sit down with the Iranians and sit down and talk. And that is, the end of the day, that's
what we need to do. Jack, listen, it's a great point. I've got to move on because we're going to the travel, but thanks very much for that. Here is the travel now, it's Will.
And South West trains between Waterloo and Shepperton tonight are still terminating at 10.
It has flown by this evening. You can still text in, by the way, 84850. I'm not going to give out the phone number. If you know it, try and call it. But we've got a lot of calls ready. If you know it, you can give us a call. How's that? Is that fair enough? What have we mentioned so far? Global terrorism, global warming, and older women having babies. Bit of Big Brother as well. What we didn't get to mention, maybe we'll tackle these tomorrow. Pete Doherty in court again. The Doctor Who bomb blast. Do you see that? Idiots. And the smoking ban. But maybe we'll save those. We'll put those aside for tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Shirley. Hello, Shirley.
Hello, Ian. I'm nervous, so be gentle with me, yeah?
Well, there's no reason to be nervous. You're only speaking to, well, not that many people.
Oh, well, okay.
Just pretend it's you and me having a chat. Just pretend you phone this guy up and you're going to have a chat about diabetes.
Oh, right, okay. I'm ringing in response to the guy that said that you get diabetes if you eat too much sugar.
Yeah, I can believe that.
So, I developed diabetes at the age of 5, type 1, yeah?
Right.
And my mum always made sure that we had a balanced diet.
Right.
So it's a load of old baloney that he said.
Well, is it a load of old baloney, or is it that some people develop it because... I don't know, I'm just asking. That some people develop it through no fault of their own, and some people develop it because they do eat too much sugar.
Maybe that was it, but I'm sure my impression of what the guy said, that everybody got diabetes because they ate too much sugar.
Well, yeah, maybe he did imply that, but it could be both ways. I'm sure a lot of people get it through no fault of their own. Shirley, how has it affected your life?
It hasn't really, because I've grown up with it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I don't really know any different.
Okay. Well, Shirley, listen, thank you very much for calling. Do call again.
I will.
It wasn't that bad, was it?
No, you were very gentle with me.
There we go. Fantastic. Thank you very much. 0870. Oh, I started to give the number out there. Clive Ball's on at 10 o'clock as well. Going through the issues of the day, no doubt. In his own unique style. Gavin.
Hi, Ian.
Hey, Gavin.
Just want to pick up on that last lady's, actually, before I go into my point about global warming.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, if you have lots of sugar, it's one of the ways you can get diabetes. I read about that recently.
Okay, so if you do eat too much... I wonder what too much sugar is.
Well, probably the recommended daily guidance. You get it on all the packaging nowadays. I've actually made sure I've tried to cut down sugar, because I used to have far too much sugar. And I thought, actually, I don't want diabetes. It's not something I want.
Do you know? I don't have sugar in any of my drinks. I don't put sugar on any of my meals. I mean, obviously, I eat chocolate sometimes. It's got sugar, but I don't really excess on sugar. I see what dawned on me a while ago. I was having a jacket potato. I had quite a bit of butter in there.
Yeah.
And some coleslaw. And I didn't. It dawned on me that a few years ago I used to put stack loads of salt on a jacket potato, salty and buttery. I used to love it, and I haven't done that for years. And I don't think I've put salt on my food for the last 5 or 6 years. And yet I used to do it all the time.
Anymore, is it?
I'm sorry.
You don't have salt on the table.
No, you don't.
Anymore, do you?
No, and I know that you're only supposed to have 6 grams or milligrams or whatever it is a day of salt. But I used to like a bit of salt, and I haven't done it for a long, long time. I might start buying salt again.
My nan cooks with it. She cooks with loads of it. That's before it became known to be as bad as it is.
What is salt supposed to do to you that's so bad?
Clogs up your arteries, I think, doesn't it?
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, you don't want to mess around with that. Anyway, Gavin, what did you call in for?
Global warming.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something you were saying earlier about the fact that the ice caps have been melting since the Ice Age, which was millions of years ago.
Right.
And there were certainly no cars around then.
No.
This isn't something that's just developed recently.
Yeah.
It's been going on for millions of years. The world has been warming up. It was cooling down many years ago. And I'm sure if anything was going to have caused the problem, it would have been back in when we had the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
You think of all the cotton mills and how much smoke they were putting out.
we were pumping, but then again, it was probably during the Industrial Revolution. When was that? 1820s. I'm struggling a bit with my English social history.
Yeah, Victorian ages and all that.
Yeah, it was probably only us. And, it's probably only us, some of Europe, and a little bit of America that was pumping stuff out. So I doubt, it's probably maybe only like 1 or 2% of the stuff that we're pumping out now, I would have thought. I mean, it was dirtier stuff, but it wasn't as global as it is now.
But you were saying earlier about, what was it, the old phrase used for global warming that used to get out of aerosol cans.
The hole in the ozone layer.
The ozone. Now, if it
What happened to that?
If it was us kicking out all that smoke in the 1820s, the hole should be above England.
Yeah.
But it's not, so... Yeah. It just doesn't all seem to add up to me.
Gavin, you speak a lot of sense. It doesn't add up, does it? But thank you. I'm just rattling through because we're getting towards the end of the show, and I do want to fit in Junad. Hello, Junad.
Hi, Ian.
Hey.
Hi, Ian. Sorry, I want to just talk about a few points on the war on terror.
Okay, away you go. We haven't got much time, so quick.
Yeah, but basically, I mean, I just think we should be absolutely... We need to be honest about it. I mean, I heard earlier you made a point about, they attacked America, September 11th, so to speak, in terms of, justification for these acts that are happening. I mean, I believe you can't justify them.
Oh, I don't... Yeah, good, I'm glad you said that. I don't think you can justify anything, murder.
But at the same time, you have to be, realistic about what's motivating all these...
Well, what is
acts.
motivating them?
Well, motivating is, I think, the whole Islamic world as a whole, if you want to... There's 1 billion of them, after all.
Right.
Around the world.
Feel
that they are being systematically attacked, undermined by the entire Western world.
I don't think you can be a spokesman for 1 billion people.
No, I'm not trying to be.
You did just say that the whole Islamic world thinks they're being subject to attack.
Okay, I'll take that back. I apologize.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, I'm talking about, and also, just to go on that point further, I mean, a lot of Muslims, for example, will not be honest.
Right.
About how they feel, about how, about the state of the war, state of the world, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I think it's because, if you say something controversial, you'll be labelled as a terrorist.
Right.
I just think we need to be absolutely honest about how we truly feel.
Yeah.
Then we can have a real discussion.
We can't solve these problems unless we are all honest, can we, Junad?
Sorry?
Okay, well, next time clean your ears out. 0870 90 90 973. It's the last few minutes of the show. We'll speak to Alex in Southgate after this. It's the show, don't forget. Clive Ball's on at 10 o'clock and really is worth a listen. He's nice, but he's got an edge. I'm still trying to get him to... I'm going to get T-shirts printed up with that and see if he'll buy them. Alex.
Hello.
Hello, Alex. What can I do for you?
Well, you're talking about global warming.
Yes.
I think there's a new idea floating around that, nothing's happening. It's all, the planet's just adjusting itself.
Yeah.
But I mean, whether you believe it or not, there were pictures on Sky News today showing glaciers literally melting in Greenland.
Well, I believe that's happening, but I believe it's a natural phenomenon.
Oh, well, I mean, you see, we shouldn't turn global warming into something of faith. I mean, if it's factually happening, Question is, how bad is it going to get?
Right.
And how many people are going to die?
Right.
And, you know, at the end of the day, that's what's important. I mean,
Of course.
you're right.
But if it's the thing is, a few million years ago, there were things called dinosaurs, right? And they lived all over the earth, and then they weren't there. We aren't going to be here forever, Alex. Mankind, at some point, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, is going to go and disappear.
I don't agree with you, Ian, because I think that...
We're not going to be here forever.
Well, yeah, but human beings have an advantage over dinosaurs and probably every other mammal that's walked the face...
Broadband.
Animal that's walked the face... We have intelligence. We literally do not use it, as you've seen with the recent terrorist attacks.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, doesn't it?
We have intelligence. We failed to use it. I was going to make a point about that too.
Yeah, go on. We haven't got much time, so very quickly, about 30 seconds.
Yeah, quick point. Just that you know, the Western media. You know, I'm born and bred in London.
Yep.
We have our heads buried in the sand.
Keep it clean. Okay, well done.
Yeah, we need to wake up. We know what's going on.
We need to wake up and
we need to deal with what we're doing out there.
wake up and smell the
roses. Get our troops out of Iraq.
Wait
get
for
our
coffee,
troops out of Afghanistan. I'm going on holiday to Paris, Ian. You know why? Because they've not had any terrorist attacks. Funny that is. They weren't involved in the invasion either.
Right. But then they have all the students kicking off over there. So
I don't mind students kicking off as long as no one's blowing themselves up. I'm comfortable. I'll be on the Eurostar. Get out of London. Because to be honest, I don't know where I can go in London at the moment. As a born and bred Londoner, where I can go and be safe, feel comfortable in the multicultural, wonderful place that London is. You know, we've had our position in the world so badly damaged. People love London, and it's such a shame. And it's going to take around years.
if you missed the show today, it sounded a lot like this. The war on terror, are we losing it? Can we do any more? And how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Colin. Pleasure to talk to you. I think part of the problem is there's too much political correctness going on now. You know what I mean? You know when, like, political incorrectness just goes wrong?
I mean, if those bombs had gone off, then of course it would be July the 7th all over again.
At the end of the day, these people are not going to stop.
I don't think it really matters, because at the end of the day...
Hello. I don't really know why I'm ringing.
The movie's getting bombed by the IRA.
Hello, Ian.
Hello, Jackie.
A first-time caller. I've been listening to your show for quite a while.
Why are people having babies later in life?
I'm conscious of my body clock. I don't want to leave it too late. But then again, what you said was true. You know, there's 70 is the new 60.
Nuts and sluts. That's all it is, nuts and sluts in there.
The polar ice caps will be melting, and there's nothing we can do to stop that.
I think it's time for us to wake up and smell the coffee. That's it from me. I'm back tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Thanks, everyone, for calling. Thanks, Alex. Thank you, Helen. Clive Ball's up next. He's through till 1 o'clock, then it's Bill Buckley. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.